YouTube, you fools try to limit me, muting and deleting channels, thinking that's the end of me. Y'all are not on my level, smaller than a centipede. This is my purpose, TBT is a ministry. I do not tire, my God gives me energy. Chose by Messiah, you believe, come get with me. Married to a black queen, we got the illest chemistry. Founded the Black Tube, and now we making history. Black Tube, 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 what? Black Tube, 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 what? TBT, 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 what? TBT, 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 what? TheBlackTube.com. I'm a giant killer, son of an omniscient God who's realer. If this be the thriller in Manila, I'm Ali in his prime. It's showtime, coke time, about to take what's mine. We are not with your agenda, we showing real life. YouTube, you fools try to limit me, muting and deleting channels, thinking that's the end of me. Y'all are not on my level, smaller than a centipede. This is my purpose, TBT is a ministry. I do not tire, my God gives me energy. Chose by Messiah, you believe, come get with me. Married to a black queen, we got the illest chemistry. Founded the Black Tube, and now we making history. Black Tube, 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 what? Black Tube, 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 what? TBT, 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 what? TBT, 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 what? TheBlackTube.com. I'm a giant killer, son of an omniscient God who's realer. If this be the thriller in Manila, I'm Ali in his prime. It's showtime, coke time, about to take what's mine. We are not with your agenda, we showing real life. YouTube, you fools try to limit me, muting and deleting channels, thinking that's the end of me. Y'all are not on my level, smaller than a centipede. This is my purpose, TBT is a ministry. I do not tire, my God gives me energy. Chose by Messiah, you believe, come get with me. Married to a black queen, we got the illest chemistry. Founded the Black Tube, and now we making history. Black Tube, 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 what? Black Tube, 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 what? TBT, 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 what?
Yo, give me a minute. Hit the like though while you chilling. You know what I'm saying? Comments, concerns, questions. Put that joint in the chat, and we about to get it popping. Give me a minute. This funny too, because this the first time I'm actually a little bit nervous. You know what I'm saying? Like, in all honesty, because of what I'm seeing taking place. So I'm gonna address and kill all the lies, all the satire that y'all hearing. But you see the title. The priest and the priestess told, what did they say? They told me what? Yeah, we gon', you know what I'm saying? And this is, you know, as far as what we're going to be talking about, we're going to talk about a lot of business this evening. So this is not based on a spiritual point of view, because at this current time, that's not my point of contention, although it ties in to what we will be addressing this evening momentarily, because I'm trying to see this fight. And I think it's like 2 more fights before Clarissa Shields' boxing match. You know, it's I grew up in a family where boxing was very popular. You know, I'm from the home of Tommy Hitman Hearns, you know what I'm talking about? So yeah, my mother and, you know what I'm saying, we was into the boxings. The pay-per-view existed for me in the 80s, you know what I'm saying? Like, we go back like that with it. And even some of my people, you know, making their way to Atlantic City or to Vegas, you know, so that's when the orange guy comes into my life, when you start talking about Atlantic City and the Sugar Ray Leonard, or, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, or Roberto Duran and Tommy Hearns. Those were the popular boxers of that particular era, you know. And for me, I've always been where I wasn't supposed to be at as a youngster, not by choice, but, you know, being around the elders gave me a lot of knowledge, you know, that I would not have acquired until these current times, right? But being that I was around elders, I already was hip to some things. So I'm gonna run a couple more commercials and we gonna get it popping. I'm not gonna even hold y'all another 2 or 3 minutes guaranteed. So just hold tight. We about to do what we do. We gonna get here. We came here to do like Redman. I know a lot of y'all like, why you always say that? When did Redman say get here to do what we came here to do? He said that in 1993. Is a tree or two? One or the other doing a Def Jam concert that was broadcast by way of pay-per-view through Comcast back in the day. And one of my big sisters, peace be upon, who y'all know as Boss, Lachelle Laws, and Irene Moore, right? They were signed to Def Jam at the time. So, I was privy to some things. You know what I'm saying? So let me run a commercial, then we're gonna get here to, do what we came here to do. My brother Turiano still hit me up on Facebook. I love it. You know what I'm saying? Just like I love that brother. But we have some more than just some opposing views when it comes to this political science arena. And again, the business aspect of the orange guy. He's so good for business, where their business practices overall as a corporate entity known as USA Inc. has not been good for us. Let me turn the camera on and say that to you. You know what I'm saying? Their overall business practices have not been beneficial to us. Again, I need to just go on and kill all this right quick and, get it over and get it done with. Again, to get here what I came here to do like Redman, right? Okay. The business practices. Let's discuss it. Let's talk about it. Let's honestly discuss what has made the US Inc. the largest, wealthiest corporate entity on this mother plane. How did they get to that? Right? How did they get to that particular status? Let's honestly talk about it. So when the answer that I'm getting from my brothers who, you know what I'm saying, I hold here were the answers that I expected and I anticipated. I anticipated that you would say to me that Trump is good for business and that Trump is the as far as being the CEO again of USA Inc. His practices put them at the highest bar over any other president. And that is also false. That is as much as false as the rumor or the satire that we keep perpetuating about so-called Black Americans being this $1 trillion consumer base. Is not true. First of all, if we only hold, we'll say 2%. If we only hold, and I'm saying that because the elders who I hold in high esteem in that area of expertise, which would be a Dr. William Sandy Darity and a Dr. Claude Anderson, would tell you that from 1865 to right now, so-called Black Americans only hold 1.5% of the nation's wealth. We'll say 2% right here in 2024, just to give a margin of error, a grace. We just say it like that, right? Okay, with that being said, they used to say we make up 13% of the nation's population, right? But currently they say we only make up 12% of the nation's population, right? So by all right, if we make up 12% of the nation's population, we should hold 12 to 13% of the nation's wealth at least. And being that we do not, there's no way possible that we can be these $1 trillion consumers on an annual basis, being that the vast majority of our people are just at the poverty line, just below the poverty line, or just above it. Period. These are the facts. These are the facts. And the way that you do the proper research to make these type of determinations is you have to go with the statistics within real estate and so on and so forth when you're talking about business. Now, let's get back to USA Inc. and their business that made them the wealthiest Inc. I call them a cartel. It just is what it is, right? Business practices. Again, if we go back to uh, um, the Christian Black codes, if we go back to what they call Jim Crow and the vagrancy laws, if we go currently right now and deal with what they call city ordinance, and go and look at what's on the books as far as how they were able to relinquish the estates of our ancestors, right? Because we're not talking about greenbacks. We're not talking about fiat in the beginning, right? You know what I'm saying? What their goal was as invaders, or as you would call them, the occupiers. We are under what, military occupation and all of this. I know all the big lingo, all the big words. I've been around for too long. You know what I'm saying? For anybody to have any doubt with what I'm saying. And when I say I've been around for too long, I'm not talking about no YouTube. I'm talking about grassroots. You understand? And grassroots is cool, right? But what makes my efforts even more commendable, and you know what I'm saying, is the fact that I put the shit to action, right? Some of the things that you guys are discussing now about irrevocable trust and all of this shit, this is stuff that, I was already putting into effect, i.e. putting it on the record, right? Notifying these various uh, uh, corporate entities and their subsidiaries. I was already doing that long time ago, right? Long, long, long time ago. To some of y'all, to me, there's nothing. It's yesterday. But again, this is not just taught. When somebody who you consider to be a scholar, and who was also one of your brothers or your sisters, has some incorrect information, I'm old enough. I may not look my age, and it ain't everybody's business what my age is. But if you found out, you would say I was lying. So that's why I don't even talk about it, right? But with that being said, that enough is not alone. Age, your age, that means nothing. I know, some women old enough to be my mother who would tell me or argue with me about the only pyramids that they know about is the ones in Egypt mentioned in the Bible. Other than that, anything about me talking about what's in Central and South America, or what's right here in Missouri, or what's in Ohio, or Poverty Point in Louisiana, they've been looking at me like I'm crazy for over 2 decades now, just off that conversation. You understand? But I'm not going to even get into all of that, because, if you know me, the historical aspects of this indigenous aboriginal, or these are indigenous aboriginal or autochthonous American movements that I've been a part of for 19 years. 19 years. I could say 2 decades, as far as me searching for a foundation, that actually had they, together. They bleak together, right? Which for me started with Washita, right? Whether you're talking about Unity Washita, DW Washita, United Washita, peace be upon Chief Sarkor, which is one of the first elders to give me a delegation of authority to do anything as a assistant clan mother. Because again, when we deal with the actual customs and culture, when it comes to these clans or tribes that some of you subscribe to, in order to be a clan mother, you have to be past your moon cycle. I'm gonna just say that, right? And even at this current time, I'm not a cougar. That's what a cougar is. Some of y'all don't really know what a cougar is. A cougar is a woman who is past her moon cycle, who can just go. You know what I'm talking about? Just go. I'll just put it that way. So, the cougar, that term is synonymous with the woman past her moon cycle who can drain a young man, right? But many of us just look at it as a older woman, who likes younger men. You don't get into the science of it. I just gave you the science of it, which I've done multiple times over multiple years. So this business, let's get back to it. What business is the USA Inc. into that made it the wealthiest Inc. or nation state or corporation on a mother plane? What business does the US Inc. Is it they gross domestic product? Is that what it is? Come on, y'all. Let's talk about it. Let's be thorough with it. Let's just not throw out more satire, and regurgitate more shit that somebody else said. You didn't check that information. And again, there's a margin of error when it comes to dealing with these statistics. Whether I'm looking at, um, again, their health, what do you call that? The FDA or any of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Any of the statistic that they release, and especially when we're talking about some things are about as accurate as we're gonna come across, based on the fact that we don't have the laboratories. We have some technicians. We have some very talented brothers and sisters. Whether or not they gain doctrines by way of university or by way of, peace be upon them, Dr. Sabi. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying that, but again, we don't have the unity. We don't have the laboratories, to in order, or the the consuls, in order to, with the proper education, in order to make these determinations, right? So just based off of that alone, it forces us to deal with their statistics, right? So with that being said, even when I look at their statistics, if statistically annually they're saying that, so wait a minute, I'm going, let me go, I'm going the other way, and let me get the comments up here too, because I'm not eating. Peace, God. Peace. We gonna get to it, because again, we have to get out of this mindset of what someone knows and what, you assume that they don't know, or assuming that you know more than somebody else, right? You cannot make that determination about somebody, even people that you may have known. I'm not gonna say a lifetime, but let's just say me. People will make assumptions about what I know and what I don't know, right? Or the fact that they deem themselves as knowing more than me, and that is ridiculous. I know not to feel that way about anybody, because I don't know what all you know. Period. Like, for instance, you know some things that I may express, right? But for all you know, I can know plumbing, I can know all kind of shit that you may not know. And that counts when you're saying you know more than someone else knows. Like, let's stop it, y'all. Let's stop with the arrogance, and I understand that by nature you're gonna have an ego, unless you your self-esteem or whatever is in a toilet or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. But I'm only here to give the facts, right? And the fact is that this corporate entity known as the USA Inc. and its subsidiaries, their business, the business practices that made them the wealthiest entity, is the fact that they have millions of statutes, codes, acts, keep naming them. Y'all call them laws, right? Some of our people don't. Some people say what's legal, is not always lawful, and what's lawful is not always legal, and what is always illegal isn't always unlawful. Listen to that again. Some things that are illegal are not unlawful. Some things that are lawful are not legal. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this again to put it in our minds, for us to know these are facts. I'm not expressing any opinion this evening. Whenever I'm going to express some opinion, I will let it be known that this is my opinion, or even my experience. This shit is not about opinions, right? Follow me, right? Please follow me. All of these millions of laws and statutes, and when we go back and we talk about vagrancy laws, and again, Jim Crow, which is when we see a city ordinance is merely a combination and showing you that they never abolished any of that. No different than slavery was never abolished. Pull out your 13th Amendment and everything and all that, like that all you want to, right? A scholar is going to be able to see, okay, it says that slavery is illegal. No. It don't say slavery is illegal. That ain't what it says. It says involuntary servitude is illegal, right? And I'm paraphrasing at this moment, and I shouldn't be doing it at all, based on who I am and who my teachers were. But this just goes to show not how far removed I am from the information, how fed up I've been with it, and I've been going in a different direction. I've been dealing with the brothers and sisters who don't have this fucking ego, who don't think they know everything. It's not peace be upon them. Like I've said thousands of times, Johnny Cochran did not know every statute, code, act, and so-called law that's on the books. And the reason being is because what they do on an annual basis is they add another 100,000. Those additional 100,000 acts, laws, codes, however you want to label them, that equals what y'all call money for them. That equals big business for them. That is the reason, again, why this is not the largest nation by far, but we have more people incarcerated than any other nation on the globe. So when y'all say, my brother Toriano, when you say that Trump is good for business as a CEO, as the president, right, of USA Inc., the largest, wealthiest entity on the mother plane, right? That business has never been in our favor, never will be, and cannot be, right? This illusion that y'all have again about us being the largest consumers, they never said that, because it is not. And they, unlike you, and when I say they, I'm talking about mainstream media, they're not willing to risk their platform by spreading satire. Period. You know why? Because they'll get sued like Alex Jones for saying that Sandy Hook was fake, which is something that some scholars who I've looked up to within the grassroots region, like the late 90s, early 2000s, prior to me being able to encompass and understand why I was no longer a Hebrew Israelite, right? Why I was no longer so and I'm gonna say this because this started for me at a young age, the infatuation that I had with the Nation of Islam. Number one, I'm from Detroit, which is number one, not number two. We not Chicago, that's our sister, right? Mecca and Medina, that's our sister. And I hold no beef nowhere with any of my people, unless you are an actual criminal. And we know what actual crimes are. Crimes don't consist, again, of these millions of statutes and codes and so-called laws that they have put on the books, which has kept us, again, at the poverty line, just above it, or just below it, which again shows the lies that's being told when y'all try to say that we spend all of these trillions of dollars a year. And basically, what I'm hearing is you saying that that's why we don't need reparations, compensation, and restitution. What good would that do us? Blah blah blah, which is a bunch of bullshit. I wasn't. Again, pardon my profanity, but a woman of my age is tired of this shit. Again, I didn't even finish all the clans that not only was I a part of, and this is not me bragging, I'm just giving you a visual of, the experience, right? I'm giving you a visual of it. And again, everything expressed here tonight is facts. It's not satire. It's not something that I heard and that I'm regurgitating, which is a problem. It is a problem. Again, it is a problem that y'all out here regurgitating things that are absolutely false. It is not facts. And it's painful on both sides. It's painful to me to have to express this to those who I consider to be on my level, meaning we see eye to eye, not me measure what you know and don't know, because I don't know what the fuck you know. I don't know what all you know. I don't carry myself in that manner as to where I think I know more than somebody. You don't know what, again, you got people out here who have theological, they got their degree in theology. You know what I'm saying? They're master electricians, master plumbers. I know engineers, right? Who you will see on the corner homeless. But once upon a time, this brother or sister, was living a very different lifestyle. Now, that knowledge that they gained as an engineer didn't dissipate. These is brothers and sisters who, and I, it's like pulling teeth. Some of the things that I don't want to say. For example, I know brothers that used to straight pipe people gas. That way they didn't have to pay a fucking DTE bill. You heard me? But they were severely addicted to various drugs. So look down, and I don't do none of that. I'm here really to kick it about, and I'm gonna get into what the priest and the priestess told me. I know some people. My point of even making that the title was I knew it was gonna upset. So it was gonna get some people to turn their noses up. The priest and the priestess, because you want to hear me say the rabbi or the pastor or the imam, but I said the priest and the priestess. We got these biases and don't got shit. Again, we are a people who they say, based off of their statistics, that we make up 12 to 13% of this nation's population, but we only hold 1.5% of the nation's wealth. I'm gonna drill that in your head, because if that is certainly the case, how is it that y'all think that we're this big consumer base? We're consumer based enough as to where we willingly participate in this system of consumerism and not keeping the fiat within our own communities. But how can you keep the fiat in your community when it comes to the various brands and department stores? We don't own them. And I'm speaking to you being born and predominantly raised in a city where up until the Obama effect, we had over 1 million black people in the city of Detroit. You're talking about a city that was once the richest city, period. This is where I'm from. So I know what it's like to be amongst or live in a city where there are black owned businesses, where you have the largest amount of so-called black homeowners in a city. This is the city that I'm from, that I just watch the people abandoned based off of either property tax foreclosure or mortgage foreclosure. Those were the two main issues that caused the brothers and sisters from the city of Detroit to abandon ship. But again, when you are up on your history, you know that this has been a pattern that has happened even with our ancestors, but for different reasons, we'll say. Y'all know about the word Hebrew, the crossover. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all know about that word, but you have to know about that word, right? Why did they cross over? Were they astronomers? We can talk about all of that. I don't want to make this about a spiritual bill, because we're discussing this big business that y'all entrust Trump to. Again, I gotta stop my cam for 1 minute. I even gotta take myself down for 1 second, because no, I don't. Because again, everything I'm saying is fact. But I was going, as far as the fair statement and me using uh ABC, NBC, or the FDA statistics and things of that nature. I don't want them blocking me, and I don't want to hear nothing about community standards, copyright issues, any of the things that we face with the original Alhambra Society channel that we had that was on Bang, right? I don't have the time to make as much content as we produced back in the day because of other ventures, right? At this moment, with the little that we have, we still have to configure a way to build this generational wealth, right? By all and any means necessary. Y'all know me when it comes to dealing with these various subsidiaries that are the dogs. We supposed to go, peace be upon them. Bobby Ill told us to go after the owner of the dog and worry about the dog. We trying to get at the owner of the dog, right? And that's where I'm at with it. So to speak about Trump or Kamala, and again, I want to say this: just because you are seeing me I'm not even dragging Trump. I'm dragging my brothers and sisters who I know what I know. You know what I know when it comes to the two wings of the same bird, which is nothing. Somebody says that to me, that's nothing. How about we talk about how these people are related by bloodline? See, this shit is not satire, right? This ain't satire. Okay? Y'all say, well, Trump ain't a part of this and he ain't a part of that. Oh, he's in the bloodline. He's in the bloodline. I pulled it up and shared it on Lord Jamar channel earlier on this week, right? Yeah, Trump is a part of the bloodline. Don't play with yourself. If we gonna talk about facts, we gonna talk about facts. Good. He can be the best businessman that y'all think he want to be, but I just dispelled all of that shit for y'all, right? If you go to where I be at, you know what I'm saying, on the Fed book, you know, I just gave the statistics on all of that shit when it comes to who is your biggest, who is the CEO who the stock market boomed the most off of. When you say Trump, that's a lie. That's how I know y'all just regurgitating shit. This wouldn't be the first time that I looked at any of these statistics, right? Just give me the benefit of the doubt. Over the years, and when I say, I mean going back over a decade ago, before I even was instrumental on anything as far as a YouTube channel or Facebook or any of that shit. We'll say starting with Facebook, like real talk, I was already pulling up the national debt clock for y'all at least 3 or 4 times annually, yearly. I was already doing this, and I was pointing out the things that we're discussing this evening. So let's get back to it. What business are you saying that he's so good at? He's good at the business that has, y'all say, disenfranchised. But let's go back and let's talk about the estates, right? These estates. See, I know y'all know about that, right? That became United States. These estates, this land that we claiming now as the original people of it, right? Being the caretakers of the land. Who knocked you and what knocked you out of that position? It would be these same politicians that y'all rallying for on either side, Trump or Harris. It's them. So I don't want to hear shit about how he's the business that he's best at running is the business that put us out of house and home. is the business that got us just below or just above the fucking poverty line. Is the business that has us in only holding about close to 2% of the nation's wealth when we make up 13% of the populations. And how did they do it? They did it with their millions of statues and codes that they use to imprison us at a rate unheard of ever in fucking time. Ever in time, in memorial and existent, the time that we or man was never not, all of that time. Not just by that, no, by extortion, essaying us when they say remember the stop and frisk that, and y'all vote. Don't you know Trump won't stop and frisk to come back? But some of my conscious brothers and sisters are finding a reason to fucking agree with that shit, because y'all be pushing that fucking propaganda and that satire that is created by those who have the funding and the fiat to create. It ain't created by you. What you do is regurgitate the shit. What I'm here to do is to straighten this shit out. I don't care how bad it hurt or who it hurt. In order for the truth to be put out here, I'm willing to take that. I'm willing for y'all. I'm willing to be called all kind of names, feminists and all kind of bullshit that don't even fit where I come from. Me coming from the hip hop world. Well, what is this? I done made the whole thing disappear. I don't know how that happened, y'all, but the whole screen disappeared on me. You know, even coming from the so-called conscious community, specifically, no, I can't say specifically, because again, listen, and I'm about to say something, you know what I'm saying? This will be something of opinion based, but not opinion based by me. On all of the things that I knew, everybody, you know, that had opposing views to the post that I put on Facebook today. Everything I thought y'all was gonna say, y'all said. Somebody said the infamous, well, Kamala Harris is not even black, right? Now let's look at that. And this is, I don't give a shit again about either candidate, because they don't give a shit about me. Let me say that again. I don't have a dog in a race. All right? Because if you say, let's just deal with the fact that we know what fiat is, right? And if you say that the fiat currency is based on what is based on, that's a secondary time that I don't have a dog in the fight. All right? So I don't side with any candidate. What I'm getting at is my brothers and sisters in the conscious community, whether you are a Pan-Africanist, a Hebrew Israelite, a Moor, a Muslim who is Orthodox, who is out of the Nation of Islam, who is Sunni, and so on and so forth. This is, again, all of this was instilled in me for years. Years. I guarantee I'm older than 90% of the brothers and sisters who will even look at this. And again, my age means nothing. It's the experience. It's the experience. Now, let me say this. Y'all say she not black, right? Her mother is Hindi or East Indian, right? Her father is from Jamaica, okay? Now, many would say that his West Indian heritage would go back towards the way of her mother. I don't know these people personally, right? But for the most part, people will say that her father is black and her mother is of East Indian heritage, right? She's of Hindustan. With that being said, the Hebrew Israelite brothers and sisters will say that Kamala was black. Again, they believe that you are who your father is. So if Kamala's father is black, right? Or you know what I'm saying. This is just for general purposes that I'm using some of this terminology. Let's deal with that first, right? I'm looking to see if the other fight came on yet. Just I don't have no dog in that fight, y'all. It just hurts me so much to see any of our people so much in support of any presidential candidate, right? Especially one who is not of your pedigree. Let's say that. Hmm. That really, to see so many of my brothers and sisters cheer on someone who is of the exact same bloodline of Biden, Obama, Bush, Washington, all of them, minus one. There has only been one US president who was not related to the other presidents, right? But there has been zero US presidents who aren't related to other political uh uh what what word am I looking for? Like senators and Congress and governors, and yeah, they are all related. This is a bloodline, which is why they over and understand exactly what I'm saying to you right now. Their ability to create all of this legislation on an annual basis is the very nucleus of what has made them the wealthiest entity on the fucking earth. And all of that legislation affects us the most. We are the number one people who are kidnapped and held for ransom and warehoused. Y'all know this language. When we start talking about transmitting utilities and wards and POWs, y'all know this language. So I don't expect brothers and sisters who know these facts, fuck this language. Y'all know these facts to be out here promoting Trump, trying to tell your sister that he's the best person for that job because business wise, the US did the best under his leadership. Well, we can go and look at these charts. Based on when this boxing match starts, will let me go ahead. I'm gonna pull this up because I'm so done. This is a bad look for us, y'all. It's really really bad, really bad. I if even if you are, and this is the thing, as someone who favors the brothers and sisters who has knowledge of self, meaning the majority of my followers and so on and so forth on these social media platforms are brothers and sisters who are Pan-Africanists, are brothers and sisters who are Hebrew Israelites, are brothers and sisters who are Moorish Americans or American Moors, or brothers and sisters who are indigenous, aboriginal, or autochthonous Moors, or brothers and sisters who are Islamic, right? These are the brothers and sisters who are more like-minded and attracted to the content, right? So with that being said, I don't get it, y'all. I don't get. I get it because I know very well about the cycle of misinformation that is handed down in that particular community. I'm gonna say it again. I'm very much abreast. How you say that? Aware of the amount of misinformation that passes through the so-called conscious community, and 99% of it is never addressed. And the 1% that is addressed by the 2% of us, we get hated on. We get hated. We get called all kind of names. You know, well, I ain't gonna say all of us because I don't get a lot of the disrespect because I don't know. You know, I whatever. But again, the misinformation, it's it's everywhere in this community. The lies is everywhere in this community. So, being that I actually love knowledge of self, right? Or the knowledge of self, study thyself. You understand? All of these various ideologies and spiritual systems with the various names for the prophets and rabbis and imams and priests and pastors and ministers and Reverend Pork Chop and Pastor Pimpin, and all of them are not worthy of us protecting them and paying homage in the way that we do. If we're gonna be realistic and look at the pedo activity, right? But we here to talk about this business this evening. And again, us not only conforming, but in this day and age, participating in it at our own detriment is absolutely asinine. From my lips to your ears. So let's see if it'll allow me to. My lips dry. I'm on a little fast, y'all, for the past few days. I'm trying to look good when I hit this SWV escape concert thingy. So, and plus health wise, you know what I'm saying? Reset those organs. Fasting has been very effective um and very important to me throughout my lifetime, right? I could tell you some stories that are actual factual that will either make you smile or make you be a hater. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I will just be merely expressing what worked for me, and you can see the results. Like, it's not many people my age who aged as well as I age. I'll just put it that way. Like, I go in my neighborhood and I see people that I started school with since kindergarten, and they be like, "Damn, you still look the same." You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I don't look exactly the same, but pretty much, based off of um certain things that I've done for since August 1994. How long ago is that, y'all? I stopped counting. August 1994 is the last time I consumed any cows, chickens, pigs, lambs, turkeys, any of that type of garbage. Well, it's not garbage. For me, I'm like this. If you like it, eat it. But know that there are gonna be consequences. Like for me, yeah, I haven't ate none of that stuff since August of 1994. But um a lot of stuff that I've eaten over, that's like, damn, that's 30 fucking years. I just thought about that, y'all. It's been sugary stuff, right? So again, when I was thinking, well, I don't eat pork. You know what I'm saying? Pork was the least of my worries of consumption, but your ass eat annihilators, right? How do the annihilators have pork in them? The gelatin. This is stuff I knew and learned before I even think I knew who Dr. Sabi was. Again, August of 1994 is when I began my journey of no cows, no chickens, and turkeys is very, very relevant, for me to say in my family because um, my mother and her husband ran like a smoked turkey, fried turkey business. You see what I'm saying? So turkey was the stuff in my family. Like ate a lot of turkey. So when I let all of that go, it was it. I could tell you a lot of stuff. That's 30 years is the long ass time, and I'm gonna tell you something I've never heard vegans and vegetarians and you know what I'm saying, people like this and that say. That shit makes you sensitive. Once you pass, for some of us, I would say, once you've done this for over a decade, you be a little bit sensitive. I can understand the amount of extra. estrogen levels being out of control for the men and the women when you make that change, especially being that in the early and mid 90s, a lot of us consume way more soy than what we probably consume now as being vegans, than, because it was only so many products that were available, right? So let me get off that. I'm trying to find these statistics, y'all, and I'm hoping that it don't um it don't drop the bill. So let me see. And I shouldn't show it on I don't think I should show it on Facebook, but because YouTube and Facebook, and I knew this was gonna happen. I knew it was gonna happen. Like, okay, 5,000 friends on Facebook. Now I'm at 499.99, and this always happened when I not challenge, but I disprove the popular satire that everybody is out here pushing, right? Like the Michelle Obama being a man bullshit that everybody's I think that was the number one uh uh that was the damn most popular time where people unfriended me. I'll give zero shits. You know what I'm saying? If you're more comfortable in sitting in a pile of shit than you are sitting in a clean glass of water, that's on you. When I'm clearly about to show you, and I always show the facts, the actual statistics. Ain't no black people spent no trillions of dollars on no annual basis. All right, number one. Number two, let me see. Concerning this guy, Trump being, what is this? What is this? This is not propaganda. It's real shit. Blah 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 blah. I'm not gonna deal with it. I dealt with the statistics. I showed the statistics, and I dropped them, bro. That's what I'm gonna say, right? That's gonna be my remarks to, again, Trump. This is my brother Toriano. Trump is good for business. He's the best CEO the United States corporation has ever had. That is directly out of a neo-Nazi skinhead KKK documentary. Is where that is absolutely false, right? Again, this is me. Their their business being the USA, their business is our kryptonite, which is my entire point of contention. Again, the US Inc. being the largest, wealthiest criminal cartel, i.e., corporation on this mother plane, that's my biggest point of contention. I don't see what's hard to understand about that. So, let's deal with it. Let's deal with it. Let's deal with it. Where is the rest of the responses? Let me see. I'm trying to find it, y'all. Okay, so I talked about the gross domestic product already. You know what I'm saying? How we comprehend it. You know what I'm saying? What is the gross domestic product? Again, we just talked about the transmitting utilities and things of that nature. The people, say it again, the people are the gross domestic product. The people. Again, for me, for us to be out here regurgitating propaganda, that's 100% against our best interest, right? These are my responses, right? All right. Their largest profits and what has made the USA the wealthiest corporation on the planet is their ridiculously high incarceration rate, made possible by millions of statutes, codes, acts, so-called laws, which jeopardizes our families, meaning we will never be able to have generational wealth again under their leadership, be it Trump or Kamala. I strongly disagree with y'all. So it's cuff Trump and Kamala. Now, at that point, for me, Once I make that statement, at that point, it's no need to even argue with me no more. Because you see, I don't have an interest, or I'm not willing to promote either candidate or any of their agenda. I'm not talking about the 2025 uh thing that they have, or any of their executive orders. I don't give a fuck about none of that. I'm the individual who is telling you that I no longer want to do business with them or their subsidiaries. That means all of their subsidiaries who have these charters, who are chartered under this entity, they are all of our enemies. This current regime is no different than the initial regime of invaders who came here. So I will not promote any of them. I will not support none of these lies that y'all online telling. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it. And I'm not sorry. I'm not. So let's get to the actual statistics. And what this statistically, what which is the only way we can actually inform ourselves, is by way of their statistics. Because again, we don't have the technicians, we don't have the laboratories, we don't have the teams of consultants to get together and get out here and deal with the people. It's only some of us that know some of us. None of us know all of us. Again, it's only some of us that know some of us. None of us know all of us. But what we will say is that the vast majority of all of you have social security numbers, have seen some type of medical facility, which all of these entities has recorded you as being a U.S. citizen or American national, or however you reference yourself. It does not stop them and their subsidiaries from being able to usurp your energy as a transmitting utility. Let's just say facts, all facts this evening. If you miss it, you missed it, right? So let's deal with it. It says, we dealing with Trump being this big business guy, and no other president has, superseded him when it comes to getting this bread. What did he say? I could care less about. Okay, see, I knew somebody was gonna say that. Blah blah blah. So even before the virus exacerbated U.S. income inequality, some experts say Trump's economic policies favored the wealthy and left the poor and middle class behind. His Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in December 2017 provided major tax breaks to corporations and wealthy individuals. The policy, among other things, reduced the corporate income tax rate from 35% to 21%. Good, kudos to him, to the wealthy, but not to the people who make up 12% of the nation's population and only hold less than 2% of the nation's wealth. It's not kudos to us for any of this shit. All right. So the policy absolutely increased inequality, and the vast majority of the benefits of those tax cuts went to the already very wealthy. The economists also noticed that the policy came at a time when unemployment was relatively low and the economy was in good shape. That's not the time to be giving away trillions of dollars to the wealthy, right? When you have had a bad shock like the global financial crisis of 2008 and 2009, which I spoke about earlier today, in regards to the brothers and sisters abandoning the city of Motown, Detroit, Motor City, right? I spoke about that, right? Several times I spoke about what Dr. Claude Anderson said during that period and beyond about those of us who could afford to move to Detroit, to come to Detroit and help rehabilitate the city and keep it black. You understand? You see, everything's within a month. We no longer have a Joe Louis Arena. Let me say that again. We no longer have a Joe Louis Arena. That's gone. That's history, right? Cobo Hall, gone. Been here for years. Ran and controlled by the city of Detroit. which has been a black city since the year of 1974. What I mean when I say a black city, what I want you to do, because y'all ain't gonna listen to me, go listen to Dr. Claude Anderson. Go listen to Dr. William Sandy Darity, who's gonna give you this same information. And they've been doing it for longer than most of us have even been living. Right? So again, what I say, like the global financial crisis of 2008 and 2009, or like the coronavirus crisis that we're still going through, that's the time to increase government spending, right? He say expansionary fiscal, like fiscal New Year, FISCAL, physical policy. But you lose the ability to do that if you gave it away, right? To the wealthy. Again, not to you, not to me, because they not giving you shit. Either party, either wing of the same bird has no intentions, just like Kamala said, she not doing anything specifically for black folks. What did Trump say he was gonna do? And if he said he was gonna do something, how hard would it be for you to realize that he's lying? But he ain't even have to lie to y'all for y'all to uplift him in some high fucking esteem. This has me very angry. And by all right. Because again, as a people who make up 12 to 13% of the population that only hold less than 2% of the nation's wealth, we beyond in trouble. This is what I need you to comprehend. Stop passing around the fallacy that we're this big consumer base who buys all the Benzes and all the Gucci's. Show me a Mercedes-Benz dealership in a Gucci store in the hood. They don't pander to you because you're not the biggest consumers of those brands. That is a lie. We are not. Granted, let me say this. Granted, when most of us do surpass a certain financial position, these are the things that we've always wanted. So these are the things that we will go out and acquire. I'm not in denial of that. But being that I know we hold less than 2% of the nation's wealth, is no fucking way. You don't live on Rodeo Drive. You're not the largest consumer of Gucci. You're not. It's impossible. All right, my internet connection did a whammy on me, right? So I'm trying to find the rest of the commentary because I don't want to have to go back, being that I copied and pasted the statistics that were given. All right. So here, black consumers in the United States spend around $835 billion annually. Again, black Americans, black consumers. Where are we at? Right. Black consumers spend around 835 billion, not trillion. Some people, I give you 1.7 trillion. But what is 1.7 trillion to a corporation that is well worth over 200 trillion, who has a national debt of 30 something plus trillion. I haven't looked at it in probably about maybe 4 or 5 months. But in all fairness, again, I know of no one who pulled up the national debt clock and shared it with y'all more times than I have over the past since 2012. And we have multiple platforms who discuss this same information. So, what is this? Again, I'll say it again. American Black consumers in the United States spend about $835 billion annually. And what we need to understand is a lot of that is based off of. I did it. I hit the refresh. Good looking guy. Appreciate you. A lot of it is based off of the fact that we don't have a choice. What do I mean by that? When we talk about the dollar not circulating in our community, where you gonna go? For example, I know of I forget the Moore's name who have the toilet paper company, right? But how many of us are privy to be that have a contact to them to strictly buy your toilet paper from them? So 99% of us are going to go to what? Rite Aid or Walgreens or Walmart or CVS to go buy the toilet paper. Myers, Kroger. What y'all got? Y'all got Publix and Cash and Carry down around there. You know what I'm talking about over there? You see? So I'm it is what it is, y'all. I gave the facts. What else can you say? I can say more. I'm looking for the statistics. Again, this is me. I told my brother, I said, I'm about to go live, but the notion is also false. If we are indeed 12 or 13% of the population, we shall hold 12 or 13% of the nation's wealth, but we don't. So to put this big consumer sticker on so-called black people, like we got money already. We don't need reparation, compensation, restitution, because what we gonna do with that? We gonna go buy more Benzes and buy more Gucci, when again, we are not by far the largest consumers of those brands. Now, statistically, when you go online, what you will get is they will show overall the however 40 million, allegedly 38-40 million so-called black people exist in this nation, right? What they will give you is a percentage of how many of those people go and buy Benzes. They don't give you the statistic of what nationality of people buys the most Benzes or buys the most Gucci, right? But again, let's use common sense. Common sense tells me that if we only hold 2% of this nation's wealth, which is over $200 trillion, is nowhere in the fuck we can be the biggest, largest consumers of Gucci or Benz, Mercedes Benz. It's just impossible. But I understand the concerns of us being large consumers of these brands for those of us who can afford it. But what else would you have me go buy? Point me to the melanated what is equal to a Benz, a car brand. Point me to the dealership, you know what I'm saying? That we have. We don't have it because forget since they first came here. Let's go back to 1871, right? Let's at the year of 1871, one of my scholars tell me how many so-called laws did this corporate entity have on the books at that time. And again, if all of their first so-called laws were implemented to bar us and rob us and kidnap us and ransom us the fuck off. How is it that you think that all of these new policies that they create aren't for the same fucking reason? What unruly, uncivilized people need millions of statutes and codes and regulations and automations and you know what I'm talking about? In order to govern them. There's no people who ever existed. But when you have a greedy regime such as this one, that is their goal. That is their goal. Okay. I'll be trying to excuse me, y'all, pay attention to the comments and stuff. So it just is it's no other way to put it. These are the facts. So I want to get to, because my main purpose of even going to look on the computer, boom, is to prove that Trump is not he is not the CEO. He's not the CEO who you know y'all say he is, right? My brothers say that as far as business, he's good for business. I agree. He's the best CEO that the United States corporation has ever had. I firmly disagree because the statistics don't show that, bro. You understand? He's good for, again, their business, which has been terrible for us, right? It has kept us at the margin that we are at, which is just below and just above. Where is it? I don't see it. I'm looking for exactly. I gave the statistics of what this cat did, what this cat did not do. And I don't know if somebody maybe erased their comment. And it, oh yeah, I know what happened. It's on the whole thing. So boom. The Dow soared by 56% during Trump's presidency. Follow me. The Dow soared by 56% during Trump's presidency. Okay. It climbed 148% under Obama. Again, the Dow soared by 56% during Trump's presidency. It climbed 148% under Obama. It fell by 26.5% under Bush, right? So again, the propaganda of y'all putting this on the country does so much better financially up under Republican leadership than it does under the Democrats is false. I should do like how I used to do, but I know nothing transpires. If I say I could pull out $1,000 right now and say, put your money where your mouth is to any of my brothers or sisters, any of my contemporaries, so on and so forth. Nobody is gonna do it. Doesn't that seem odd to you? I firmly stand on what I'm standing on. So if any of you who are saying this shit say, well, sis, I got $1,000 on it. Let's go bar for bar. I'm so there. I'm so with it. Because you're wrong. Again, the Dow soared by 56% during Trump's presidency. It climbed by 148% under Obama. It fell by 26.5% under Bush. And it climbed 229% under Clinton. So who's better for business? Actually, is it Kamala or is it Trump? And I'm saying this to say, I say both of them are excellent for fucking business because they both have the same agenda, which is continuing to allow over 100,000 different so-called laws on an annual basis to come into existence up under legislation, legislative branch, judicial branch, and executive branch. That way they can continue to keep the melanated people at only holding less than 2% of the nation's wealth. When we make up 13 to 12% of the nation's population, so at the very least, we should hold 12 to 13% of the nation's wealth. And being that we do not, my sister, if you watching, Rashida Wilkerson, my sister, being that we only hold 2% of the nation's wealth, is no fucking way that we can be a $1 trillion consumer base. We're not. And again, if I give you that $1.7 trillion, what that is pennies. That is pennies to a corporation that is worth hundreds of trillions of dollars, right? Right? And you don't even hold the percentage of wealth that your people make up. So again, they're both great for business. Don't tell me that Trump is better for business than fucking Kamala. And again, I don't want to do business with the USA Inc. or any of their subsidiaries. That is our problem. And that has been my stance since 2005, when I filed my very first document with the Secretary of State in Lansing. You know what I'm talking about? All the way back then. That UCC1 financial filing that we was all doing back then. You understand? Wasn't that the purpose? So for me to hear these same individuals sit up and talk about how Trump is so much better for business, I'm not fucking with y'all on that. I will rock with you on various other topics, but not that one at all. And I'm never gonna lie for you. Anytime I see a lie, I'm gonna address it. I thought that's what scholarship was about. I thought it ain't no thought. Because again, nothing I'm discussing tonight is opinion. This is all a fact. And it is a fact that a true scholar studies both sides of the coin. I'm that scholar. I study both sides of the coin. So when I look at the coin and the coin shows me a bunch of neo-Nazi skinhead KKK motherfuckers pushing for the very same agendas that my brothers are pushing for. And not only that, they are the progenitors of some of this satire ass information that y'all be out here regurgitating. That's why I'm on your ass. That's why I'm making attempts to correct the fallacies. Okay? That's just what it is. Like it, love it, you know. It's painful. A lot of shit is painful. It's painful for me to know that y'all out here pushing this. So let's get back to it. We're talking about the stock markets and shit. Trump's dramatic trade war upended decades of policy and kicked off with failed meetings with Chinese leaders in 2017. After the talks, what does that say? I don't know. Trump initiated the trade war by imposing tariffs on all imported washing machines and solar panels in early 2018. He then announced 25% tariffs on steel imports and 10% tariffs on aluminum. I'm gonna stop right there. And this is very important to those of us who live downriver, just like me, in this community downriver, who know about Great Lakes Steel and these other factories who have been here for decades, who were responsible for one of the plants outside of the big three, which is GM, Ford, and Chrysler, who are responsible for the expansion of so-called black people within the upper middle class echelon. You understand? Who were buying businesses and homes and things of that nature, becoming landlords again and stuff like that. Trump went to this plant and told these people at this plant that he was going to do this, that, and the third, right? While he was in office, and he didn't do none of that shit. So when y'all be on here lying, I'm on your ass. I'm on your ass times 10. Period. So let's get back to it. Is again, I don't care who get in the Oval Office. It makes me none. My goal is for us to know that we are not supposed to be doing business with this regime. Period. Point blank. Number one. Number two, they are indebted to us beyond what their national debt even is. They owe that. That is a fact. So when y'all tell these lies about how we're this big consumer base and shit like that, it hurts. It attempts to discredit the fact, but it can never discredit the fact. As long as you have me, as long as you have a Dr. Claude Anderson, as long as you got a Dr. William Sandy Darity, and so on and so forth. Tone Talks, Antonio, what's his name? The one that lost he lost Freeway Ricky Ross case against the de facto Freeway Ricky Ross. Anyway, that's of no importance. Let's get back to it. So these tariffs, he say, on the steel imports and 10% tariffs on aluminum, right? China retaliated with tariffs up to 25% on more than 100 U.S. products. Not just 2 or 3 or 4 like how Trump did. China strike back and put on 100 U.S. products, including soybeans and airplanes. The sporadic retaliatory trade-off battles waged on for years and dragged other countries that were trying to remain competitive in as well. By the end of Trump's term, the trade deficit will be larger in absolute terms than it was when he came into office. All right. So again, I said it, the Dow soared by 56% during Trump's presidency. It climbed over 148% under Obama. So what does that mean? Trump came into office after Obama, right? So things that were put into play, put on the books while Obama was in office, was still on the books as Trump came in. So a lot of the accolades, again, that he received, he don't even fucking deserve them. Have you looked at New Jersey lately, Atlantic City specifically, and the mess that he left there? This savvy businessman, man, y'all gotta again, if y'all say Kamala is responsible for imprisoning so many black men and blah 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 blase split. Well, that means she's perfect for business, because that is what their business practices consist of. That is what made them the largest wealthy criminal cartel on the fucking planet. So who do you think that they may want to usher into that office? The motherfuckers who's going to continue to increase the incarceration rate, who will continuously kidnap us and hold us for ransom, whether it's for driver's license suspension, whether it's for child support. Y'all have to, again, I got a speech impediment. I always had a speech impediment through lyrics and everything else. I'm still able to do it, but it just is what it is. So don't be thinking I'm on here, she can't even talk good. Let's bear with me. Give me some grace, right? So let me finish that line. So the Dow soared by 56% during Trump's presidency. It climbed by 148% under Obama. It fell by 26.5% under Bush, and it climbed 229% under Clinton. Notably, the previous presidents had 2 terms, right? So slice that in half. Obama was in office for 2 terms. Trump wasn't. You understand? So if you slice in half what Obama did and you double what Trump did, it still doesn't match. He still outperformed Trump, right? And again, don't put these motherfuckers as cousins. I guess I can cuss now. We passed the 5 minutes, you know what I'm saying, into the bill. They're relative, they're blood relatives. So when somebody like my brother Toriano will begin to expound on this being a show, they're putting on a show. They putting on a good ass show because they got you and I, brother and sister, you know what I'm saying, headbutting on some shit that I cannot be challenged on. I cannot. This is what is on the books. This is what they have released, not what you release. You ain't released shit. I ain't released shit. So anything that you say is something that you're regurgitating from somewhere. I'm giving the source in which I'm reading from. This is from they shit. This is, you know what I'm talking about? This is they information that I'm currently reading from right now. Right? So again, boom, boom, boom. Notably, the previous presidents had 2 terms. At one term line, the Dow climbed 73.2% under Obama and dropped by 3.7% under Bush and soared 105.8% under Clinton. Is not Trump because the stock market is going up even more since Biden won the election. Again, it's not Trump because the stock market is going up even more since Biden won the election. So what the fuck are you talking about when you say that Trump is good for business? He's no better for business. He's actually worse than for business than the prior Democrats who were in office. These are the facts. That shit you're talking about is not the facts. Love you. Don't love you no less, but I'm giving you the facts. All right, let's go. Again, it's not Trump because the stock market is going up even more since Biden won the election, right? But as a scholar, what you would say to me is what I just said to you about Trump and the Obama preceding him, his administration, the Obama administration. Excuse me, y'all. He's getting accolades from that. So what you will say to me is because the stock market is still going up since Biden won the election. What you Trump dick riders will say to me is that, well, that's because of what Trump did. Well, I'm telling you that some of the accolades that y'all are giving Trump is that's because of what Biden did. And I don't like none of them because they cousins. These people are blood relatives. You know, I didn't need, and peace be upon him, I didn't need Baba Dick Gregory to tell me that Obama and Bush was cousins. Why? Because if you go back and look at my timeline in 2011, when I put the whole tree up that I copied from, I forget the little girl from middle school name who did their genealogy chart to show that all the presidents were related minus one. And Obama, being a real African American, he was not one of them. He is a blood relative. So let's carry on. All right. If you lower interest rates by 2 to 3 percentage points, that'll give you a stock market boom. Again, if you lower interest rates by 2 to 3 percentage points, that'll give you a stock market boom, right? Another problem with pointing to the stock market as a barometer of economy is that most of it is owned by the wealthy. Again, most of it is owned by the wealthy. You don't have a dog in this fight. You don't have a dog in this fight. None. Us doing business with this current regime and the original invading regime has been to our detriment. Okay? Another problem with pointing to the stock market again, is that most of it is owned by the wealthy. And the middle and low wage worker don't reap the benefits of market gains if they don't own any market shares. How many market shares do you own? Anybody who was out here pushing for Trump or Kamala, how many market shares do you own? I'm asking. Okay. In the third quarter of 2020, the wealthiest 10% of households based on a net worth own 88% of all corporate entities. Let me say that again. In the third quarter of 2020, the wealthiest 10% of households based on net worth own 88% of all total corporate entities and mutual fund shares, according to Federal Reserve data. I'm giving you their data. I'm not giving you my fucking data. right? So what data are you giving me when you say the shit that you say about Trump being the best CEO? Nigga, no. No. So again, in the third quarter of 2020, the wealthiest 10% of households based on net worth own 88% of all total corporate equities, and mutual fund shares, according to Federal Reserve data, with the top 1% owning 53%, more than half. So when I say more than half, those of you who do business, especially in the entertainment industry, really over and understanding what it is when someone has 51%. So when someone has 53%, they are all out to keep the underclass as the underclass, right? For most working class and even middle class families, stock market gains are utterly irrelevant. Let me say that again. For most working class and even middle class families, stock market gains are utterly irrelevant. So don't tell me about this big business dude was doing, right? Don't feed me lies, because now I'm full. My cow just died. I don't need your blood, in the words of Salt and Pepper. Again, don't feed me lies, because now I'm full. My cow just died. I don't need your blood, in the words of Salt and Pepper. Right? In the words of Salt and Pepper. So again, don't tell me he's good for business and he's the best CEO that the United States corporation has ever had, when I just gave you the statistics showing that he only up shit by 50% during his administration. But Obama and Clinton and all them, they shit went up by, what it say? Let's put it back down. 100 and boom, boom, boom. That's the tariffs. What the rest of the statement at? What the rest of it at? I don't know. I shouldn't have to keep repeating myself. I said what it is, and that's what the fuck it is. I'm saying based on the Federal Reserve statistics and all of their other little entities that they have to do this type of research and to be able to give us this information, right? So a 2019 report from Moody's Analytics estimated that the trade war had cost the U.S. economy some 300,000 jobs. A study from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, published in May of 2020, found that the trade war reduced U.S. investment growth by 0.3 percentage points. And by the end of 2019, and this is expected to shave another 1.6 percentage points off investment growth by the end of 2020. Moreover, the study says that the U.S. firms lost some 1.7 trillion in stock value as a result of the trade war with China, which again, 1.7 trillion is pennies. Is pennies in comparison to their net worth as an entity, as a corporate entity, right? So trade policy is where the president wields the most economic power, as Congress has over the years delegated negotiating authority to the president's office, right? So professor of public affairs and economics at the University of Wisconsin, his name is Minzy Chen, at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Chen documented the trade war saga on his microeconomic policy blog, right? Trump exercised this power almost immediately during his first years in office, and even went so far as to use national security as a basis for barriers with China, something that no president has done in recent times, right? Now, this would be good if it was beneficial to the people, but it was not. It's only beneficial to it wasn't, when we look at the statistics that we just read prior, it wasn't even a good for the wealthy, whatever percent y'all want to say they is. That I'm not for sure, but it makes perfect sense statistically the amount of wealth that they say that we hold as a people. It makes perfect sense because you mirror that to the condition that the vast majority of our people are in. That makes sense. That other shit y'all talking about makes no sense. It makes no sense that you out here running around talking about we the biggest consumers of Gucci and we have the largest consumer base in the United States of America. That is false. You cannot find that documented anywhere outside of some type of fucking satire regurgitator. It's false. I showed it to you. It is fiatly impossible. If you don't hold the wealth, you know what I'm talking about? You don't. Again, you know, how many of us are going to Milan, Italy? How many of you predominantly do your shopping on Rodeo Drive? Like, you can get the fuck out of here with that shit. I'm too old and I've been around too long to accept all of this shit that y'all be lying about. And if I didn't love you the way I said I do, I wouldn't give a shit. But this affects our progress of having any unification and our ability to manifest anything. How many years have I said that? Why do you think we can't manifest shit? Because y'all out here regurgitating fallacies created by your enemy. Y'all out here talking about Michelle Obama is a man. A woman who you could find pictures of her in first grade, second grade, third grade, when she was 2 and 3 years old. A woman who is of Gullah Geechee heritage, and it is documented that she is of Gullah Geechee heritage. And I'm not on her and Obama team, but I'm just showing you how y'all will tear down your own to uplift a fucking monster. And I've watched it for decades, and I am certainly tired of it. And I will do anything and everything in my power to unveil the fucking facts, the truth. Don't care how you feel about it. Ooh, hour and 40 minutes. Let's go. Let's see. Is the fight on yet? Because I haven't even. Nope, it's still 2 guys fighting. Have no problem with that. I would much rather see 2 guys fighting than to see 2 women boxing. But being that Clarissa Shields is who she is and from where she's from, I'm gonna watch her fight. Sorry, I grew up in a boxing family. Not only did we see all the fights growing up, every year my mother bought boxing gloves at Christmas time, right? So I come from one of those families, you know. I know many of us may look at that as barbaric and how could a conscious person. I'm just saying, that's just how I grew up. What you want from me? I'm not out here punching people in the face. You know what I'm saying? But I enjoy the sport of boxing. I do. Is what I was raised on, you know? So ultimately, the tit-for-tat trade war that Trump waged with China was lost by the U.S. Economists say, economists say, and data on trade deficits confirm. Again, this is what the economists say in the data. What data do you have on the trade deficits? Okay, the data of the trade deficits confirm that Trump was not the number one CEO, you know what I'm saying, that the corporation of the United States has ever had, bruh. Love you to life, bruh, but that is just not true. Excuse me. And this is not about it's nothing to debate. You know what I'm saying? There's a fact and there's a lie. I just gave you the facts. Now, if you want to continue to promote the lie, see, I'm like this. Once upon a time, there were some things that I thought were worthy of my stance, right? And when I found out that this shit was a lie, not only did I address it and apologize and let it be known that I was wrong, I changed my stance and I began to put the support where the support needs to be. If you are still in support of lies, you can't help us. You can't. Not in the political arena. Maybe in the arena of genealogy and things of that nature. But when it comes to the arena of political science, you ain't got shit for me. Nothing. You sidebarring and shit. Moving the goalposts and all of that shit. I'm not here to do any of that. So at this time, I appreciate everybody that's in the chat with my 2, 3, 4, 5 people and then 19, 15, 25, 30 comments that y'all put in here. You know what I'm saying? But it's like this. Like, what else? What else can I, you know what I'm saying? Like, what else can I say? Nothing that I said can be challenged. You can't debate it. You can debate it, but you would have to debate the truth with a fucking lie. And again, I told y'all, truth and trust go hand in hand. If you can't tell the truth, I can't trust you. Again, truth and trust go hand in hand. If you're not able to tell the truth, I cannot trust you. If you are willing to hold on to some satire, no matter whether you know it's the truth or not, how much can I trust you? This has been a problem with every organization, every clan, every tribe that I have not just encountered, but have become a part of. When we do intense research and we find out, oh, Prophet Noble Drew Ali wasn't born here, he was actually born there. Now we got a problem. We're going to get a bunch of elders and their minions coming against us, saying that we agent provocateurs and all of this shit because we told the truth. But I want you to know, being that I told the truth, you can trust me. What can you do with them other brothers and sisters who are still regurgitating lies that some of them know are lies? And how does that help push a movement? It doesn't. It kills a movement. That's why I'm here to kill the lies. And, you know, I got time on my hands. I'm hangry because I'm hungry. So now we're going to get into what the priest and the priestess told me, right? And I had some jokes that I was going to say. I was going to say some things that they told me and laugh and be like, nah, they ain't tell me that. But we ain't got time for that. All right? Once upon a time, a priest and a priestess told me, when you go on a fast, don't tell nobody. Again, once upon a time, a priest and a priestess told me, when you go on a fast, don't tell nobody. All right? Once upon a time, a priest and a priestess told me, never tell anybody the exact time that you were born. It's okay to expose the month and day and year that you were born in, but never tell the exact time that you were born. That's what a priest and a priestess one time told me, right? Now, how do we accept that information without examining it? Or do we thoroughly examine what I just said the priest and the priestess said? I say we thoroughly examine it, right? And not ignore what they really meant when they made these statements, right? Like, for instance, when they said tell nobody, they weren't speaking about your direct relatives. You know what I'm saying? Because say, for example, you go on a complete fast, nothing but water, and you have, some health issues, like you're a diabetic and things like this and that. You know what I'm saying? You would want somebody to know, because if, you become severely ill, they would want to know why. or possibly, why, right? Not telling anybody the exact time you were born, like real talk. If a person knows the date, year, and they find out in the hospital that you were born in and the hospital still exists, they can obtain the records and find out exactly what time, you came through the womb, right? So I'm saying that to say it's completely fine to update your information, right? Just because there is a particular influencer or scholar who has been A1 in many departments, it doesn't mean that they always hit the nail on the head. It may sound good, it may even resonate with you, but is it factual or not? Right? And with me, having this type of stance since day one, it's been really difficult for me to break into the mainstream things of the conscious community, so to speak, because I don't, what I'm saying, regurgitate the satire that many of you do. I don't make a stance to say, as an example, and this is not to slight anybody who's on either side of this argument. Again, this is another fight I don't have a dog in. The flat earth and round earth thing. Like, I don't have a dog in either of those fights. And at the same time, I'm wise enough to know that neither side, I'm talking about the melanated people, anything that you use to try to prove that point, you're pulling from a source that is outside of your particular community, right? So you can trust that shit if you want to, but it doesn't mean that I will, right? And again, I will continue to say this: we don't have the laboratories and the lab technicians and the archaeologists and the anthropologists who are on our team, who are willing to put the time in to bring us um, a consul who we can trust to tell the truth with this information, because they have the actual statistics that they pull themselves, right? And they combine that with the ancient records and what we have currently. See, we've had to do that on an independent basis, right? Which is furthermore proof that financially we ain't got it. Stop playing. Don't tell me about what we don't need financially. That's bullshit. Y'all need to stop doing that, right? Whatever check we can get to get cut, best believe we need that. You know what I'm saying? And it's not gonna come in gold. It's gonna come in fiat. So guess what? You take that fiat and you use it to barter for things that you can build generational wealth with. Spend all of that shit. If you get a 5 billion tomorrow, spend it all before the year is out. You know what I mean? But make sure that what you are trading and bartering with it is going to be something that you're going to be able to reinvest in. I've been saying this. These people got a button they can push. Chuck D told me about this button in 1997. Chuck D, face to face, told me and my homegirls that one day he went to the bank. I think he said he was an ATL. Don't quote me on that portion, but I'm like 90 some percent sure. It don't matter where he was at. The point is, he went to the ATM. He didn't go to the bank. He went to the ATM, put his card in. He said he was trying to get like 40, 60 bucks out, and his account said negative so many millions of dollars. Right? This is out the mouth of Chuck D of Public Enemy from Def Jam, and you know what I'm talking about? Takes the nations of millions to hold us back. Fight the power. That Chuck D. In the year 1997, not in the year of the pinnacle of the popularity of his group. This is during the time that Public Enemy was in litigation with St. Ives, right? And I don't even want to tell all this story. Really, I would love to have that brother on here, but unfortunately, due to the various transitions of my life, I don't even have the phone book that everybody wanted. Remember that phone book I had that had peace be upon him. I I don't want to call Aunt Ron O'Neal. Oh my God. Ron Banks. This is just, and I'm going from my top to bottom. Ron Banks' phone number was in this phone book. Russell Simmons' phone number was in this phone book. His direct line, his direct cell phone number. Um, Kara's one phone number was in this book, which Chris didn't give me this number directly. It was given to me by my homeboy Subliminal, but Chuck D phone number, Ron Banks phone number was given directly to me by Chuck D and Ron Banks. Russell Simmons phone number, the way I got that phone number was D, who was signed to Def Jam, used to come over my house and she used to call Russell from my house. You know what I'm saying? From my mommy's phone. You see, so when the phone bill came, I had his direct number, right? So on and so forth. I'm just saying things that these are facts. None of this is opinions. We doing facts when we Boom said, hold up, what I say about Noble Drew Ali, you know what it is. Some people will still say that he was born in North Carolina. Then you have some of us who will say he was born in VA, right? I'm just saying. Now, that statement alone will cause you to feud with many brothers and sisters, right? No different than me knowing what I know about Dwight York right now is causing me to feud with many of my brothers and sisters who, we've been through thick and thin together. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we from the courthouse to the precinct, right? But I lost the phone book due to a bunch of bullshit that I went through in earlier on in my life. The loss of my mother, the me catching a case, you know what I'm saying? Going through 3 lawyers, me having a $350,000 bond that the judge did not write interest on there. So when I got to the county, they put $350,000 cash. Now these are facts. Recently, I was having a discussion with my spouse, and he was like, "Well, you just can't say shit like that. You would have to be able to prove that." Do you know how many motherfuckers was crying because of that happening to me? That is on record. That is documented. 350,000 cash is documented, right? That I would have no issue with proving that to anybody, but I had to sit down for a minute, right? Until I received that correction, and they wasn't willing to do that until a preliminary hearing, and then at that point I still needed a bond reduction. So I had to wait on that. And once that was given, my bond was paid. My ransom was paid because I was kidnapped. Right? This is real shit. When y'all say the word arrest and I say kidnapped, if I didn't commit a crime, very well, you just kidnapped me. If I wasn't proven guilty, before some jurors of my peers, which will never happen anyway, because during my trial, it was only one melanated person. And at the time, Detroit was the blackest city, again, for its amount of population. Nobody beat us. Most melanated homeowners, because we had the most melanated people, right? Yeah, it's a ransom. That's what it is. Haven't been convicted of anything, but you put shackles on me and throw me in a cage, right? And ask me to pay this amount. This is your bond, your bill. No, it's a fucking ransom. Change your language. I've been on that. I'm going to stay on that. And I'm going to stay on what I know, y'all. I'm not going to support a lot of the lies that I keep seeing from, again, my contemporaries, brothers and sisters who I walk with on several other issues, because they are right and exact on many of those points. But this point right here, I don't know if it's because of my past or what I just spoke about. You know what I'm saying? That I've been more adamant and aggressive about this business that y'all talking about that they doing. Again, that is the very reason why we have become virtually wealthless. right? So I don't want to hear shit about the orange man. I don't want to hear anything about the East Indian, the woman of East Indian and Jamaican ancestry, descendancy or ethnicity. I'm just saying, y'all. I Come on, man. Don't beat up on your sis. You know what I'm saying? If I'm giving you something, take the time to research what I'm saying to you. Because if I'm taking my time to correct you, you should at least respect me enough to do the same. Right? This is an I'm gonna give y'all the 100% real. In the so-called conscious community, they will call my actions burning bridges. Because this is not shit that they do. Right? You rarely see a Pan-Africanist roll against another Pan-Africanist. Rarely. It happens. But when it comes to their core ideologies, oh, they stick with each other on that. So when you see me in opposition to someone else who um, stands on being an American Moor or an indigenous, aboriginal, autochthonous American as a whole, it brings about a little bit of confusion. And I'm here to tell you, don't be confused. Look up what I said, okay? And look up what this other person is saying and see which one has the reputable fucking sources, right? I know some people start, oh boy, was like, that isn't peer reviewed and all that. He said only books get peer reviewed. And look here, I'm not talking about us. This on a whole other. It's just a thought that just ran across my mind. I'm saying I'm here to utilize all available weapons in order to obtain freedom, in order to manifest uplifting fallen humanity. Period. So that means that I'm not supposed to accept any dirt in the house. These are my attempts on getting the dirt out of the house. Clean up the dirty house is what I'm saying to you, right? I'm looking at my background. I see that box y'all see in the background that y'all always see that's leaning going up the stairs. That's like 104 inch blinds that need to go upstairs and be hung up. You understand what I'm saying? You see the background, but you don't see what's in front of me. If you seen what's in front of me, I know how y'all do. Y'all would be a little bit more accepting of what I'm saying because you would look like, oh, you know what I'm saying? You might got a couple dollars. I know how people do. You know what I'm saying? I know how our minds work. When you've been a part of, again, every set. Now, let's go back to this. The Hebrew Israelites would have to disagree with you all who say that Kamala Harris is not so-called black based upon her father, right? I'm just saying the Hebrew Israelites say you are what your father is, right? And I don't know how far his ancestry goes back in the Americas. And this is another thing I wanted to say too concerning the KRS-One and the Busta Rhymes statements concerning hip hop, statements concerning us having no culture, as far as what Busta Rhymes said. What I want to say is this: whether we're talking about Jamaica, Bahamas, Haiti, Dominican Republic, St. Lucia, all of these islands are adjoining islands of the Americas. Meaning, how are we not referring to them as Americans and just ourselves? Now, if you say Americans own the mainland, that's a bit different, but they're still Americans. Do you understand what I'm saying? These brothers and sisters from these islands are Americans. You're looking at the various states who are their own individual countries prior to being forced to give up their sovereignty, excuse me. um it's just like how you see, for example, the continent of Africa. You see the continent of Africa, but you within that continent is multiple countries or nations, right? It's the same thing with North America. But we don't look at it that way because we keep referring to this land as being America, as if Mexico is not America, right? As if Cuba, as if uh, Argentina, as if Venezuela is not America. Huh? South America, Central America, there's still continental Americans, right? So when we start discussing the Articles of Confederation and the Continental Congress, did you hear that? Did we? Continental Congress. I'm going to say it in slow motion. No, I'm not. You heard what I said. These invasions go back. Uh, wait. It's only 2 rounds. The fight with Clarissa Shields and oh man, don't play with me. It didn't dip. It dropped. Let's see. I gotta check on this fight, y'all, because this really, I guess gonna be the highlight somewhat of my evening. Because I know for a fact, the vast majority of the people who are regurgitating this propaganda aren't going to admit that they are wrong and ill-informed and pushing agendas that don't do shit for us, right? They will continue to, I don't get it, y'all. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I'm not as consistent with dropping content the way we were on the prior YouTube channel. This is why we don't have the amount of subscribers and views as we had on the prior YouTube channel. This is why I have enough subscribers and views to monetize this YouTube channel, but I haven't even bothered to do it. My fight, again, I'm more comfortable and I'm more respected dealing with the brothers and sisters who don't deem themselves as being scholars and being conscious like you brothers and sisters who, are big on knowledge of self like me, right? They don't give me all these fucking issues. They're not out here talking about Michelle Obama is a man and Trump did the most as a CEO, as a president in the Oval Office, financially, while he was in the office. They not spreading them lies. They not doing that, right? So with that being said, when I came up with the idea some years ago to start a movement called No More Click of the Ticket. It wasn't called that at first, but that's what we calling it now. The No More Click of the Ticket movement, right? Because over the past 5-6 years, I watched these hillbillies and rednecks come to the decision that they were no longer going to be ransomed and extorted for tickets and citations for not wearing their helmet while they're minding their business and not committing crimes, right? So those billions or those millions of dollars that would be collected off of them because of that particular so-called law, they stopped that shit. They picked them 10 states and said, ain't no more of that. And guess what? You see them riding around all the time with or without their helmets, right? Now, for us, it's more intense. It's more intense because this seatbelt law that they began to enforce in the 80s, specifically here in Michigan, I want to say it was 1985 or 1986. Think about how much revenue that they have taken out of the people pocket who make up 12% of the population, but only hold 2% of the nation's wealth, who are the most to live at the poverty line, below the poverty line, or just above the poverty line. This is very important for us to support this movement, right? We're talking about a people who, what they did to our foremothers and forefathers was they would pull them over, right? And after they pulled them over, they would take their flashlight and either bust out their headlight or bust out their tail light in order to say that they had probable cause to detain them, right? Well, now because they got millions of statutes and codes and laws on the book, like a seat belt or a safety belt law, they no longer have to bust out your headlight. All they have to do is say that you didn't appear to be wearing your safety belt. And under those pretenses, you understand, they can extort the people who live at the poverty line or have already extorted us for billions, not millions. Think about it. Since 1985 up until 2024, how much fiat or money, if you will, do you think that they have extorted from our people? The poor people. All of us ain't poor. You understand? When it comes to how much fiat you have in your possession, I'm not saying that. But you show me where you see pale people or in any part of the world who live in the extreme famine and extreme poverty predicaments that many melanated people live in. You cannot stop lying. These lies are the reason that we cannot get it together, right? See, we stop the lies and start telling the truth, then at that point we will be able to trust one another. Truth and trust go hand in hand. Long as you out here regurgitating lies, the people will never trust you. Your regular brothers and sisters, not that small percentage of so-called conscious motherfuckers. Because we only make up a small percentage of our people. Remember that. And we don't get along worth a fuck. Because some of y'all believe in Allah, some of y'all believe in Yahweh, and believe in everything but your motherfucking self, you, your mama, your daddy, your ancestors, and your babies. You love all of them deities more than you love yourself. You love Allah and Yahshua and you know what I'm talking about? You love all of them entities more than you love yourself, your mama, your daddy, your children, and that is the fucking problem. People who are mentally, unstable in that way aren't going to be big on telling truths that don't support they bullshit. It don't support the foundation that you standing on, right? So therefore, instead of you telling this truth, you will continue to regurgitate that lie. It's just like my brother Roy Bay. I don't know if he's listening. And you know what? I was wondering why the viewership wasn't what it was supposed to be. And it is because during this entire 2 hours, I never took it off of private. My bad, y'all. I didn't. So if you didn't see this on YouTube, you didn't see it at all. What damn? My bad, y'all. I apologize. All of my Fedbook people. Let me take this off. I never took it off private. Wow. So this is why I guess my brothers and sisters were not participating in this bill. But I employ you to take this live back to the beginning and watch it, which is what most of y'all are do anyway. But for the most part, people who watch this on Facebook, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? They come in and out and they'll watch it on and off. You know what I'm saying? But as far as them outside of an area of a week or two, you know what I'm saying? They'll be on to the next thing. And I would have no problem with that if it wasn't another lie. You know what I'm saying? So my bad, y'all. I forgot to take it off private on Facebook, which is something we know wasn't intentional, because over here my spouse will tell me not to even put it on Facebook, to just leave it on YouTube, BlackTube, and wherever else, not to put this on Facebook. But he doesn't understand that that is my largest following at the moment. Again, we're on the channel that we using on YouTube is not a new channel. It was a channel that belonged to me and my son, and we watched videos on, but it wasn't the channel that we put content on, right? The channel that we originally were putting the content on, YouTube took the channel. So again, we are starting over. So it's even more difficult again for me to get my foot in with this conscious community. So let me address my brother Roy Bay before we get out of here. I still don't know if the fight is on. Let me go to a different link. I want to continue to look and see if the fight. So I'm addressing my brother Roy Bay right now. Roy Bay, you are ill-informed when it comes to the margins and the percentages of in which we as melanated men and women marry outside. We interracially marry. Let's just say it that way, right? Since they have kept records on marriage certificates and marriage licenses since the very first day that they began. Now, once upon a time, I used to be able to tell you the very first day. But right now, it's so much in here over the decades of me doing this, and what really made me laser focus into this topic, this interracial marriage, right? I'll put that on the back end. Let's deal with the facts right quick. The facts is this: you are ill-informed. When it comes to interracial marriage, Black men marry outside of their race 2 times more than what Black women do. Number one, you can look this up. Statistics. What you do is you deal with the marriage license and the marriage certificates in the states and the statistics done by way of even the Supreme Court, right? Let me see. I'm still trying to see if this fight. No, they ain't showing me nothing. I don't know why they doing that. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna focus in on y'all, right? So that's the best I can tell you. Like, nobody, first of all, you would have to be blind to not be able to see that more brothers marry outside than sisters do. You don't see a group of sisters talking about, and you can call this rhetoric all you want, but as far as the statistics, I done shared them 1,000 times. For you to still be saying what you saying is like, you lying and you don't care that you lie. And no love lost, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that makes you feel that good to tell that fucking lie, that's on you. But the OJs and the Sidney Poitiers and the Kanyes and the Jim Browns and the Fred Williamsons and all the other, first of all, let me say this. The higher up in class that you go with these melanated brothers or sisters are the more likely that they are to marry outside of their race. Number one, unfortunately, it's on, I can tell you the percentage, but for an example, we have LeBron James, wealthy, right? Married to a melanated woman. We have Magic Johnson, wealthy, married to a melanated woman, right? These are the successful athletes and entertainers, right? Jay-Z, married to a melanated woman, right? But again, I'm not saying that most successful melanated men or most melanated men marry outside the race. That's not what I said. What I said is that the brothers marry outside of the race 2 times more than the sisters. The exact I can give you the exact numbers. I've done this 1,000 times, right? So we can get this right. See, y'all looking at Ketanji Brown and the very few. Let's use common sense. Think with your common sense mind. How many melanated women are actually attracted to the pale men, the pink men? Come on, stop it. That's y'all with that shit. Most melanated women ain't. No, we're not attracted to them. No, that's y'all. For centuries, when we talk about the amalgamation and the Tawny Moors and the time with, how you think they did it? They didn't do it through melanated women having babies with them. They did it through melanated men having babies with them, which made those children heirs to the estate, which is another reason we in a fucked up predicament that we in now. So I will not allow you to lie to the people. So let's get to the actual statistics again. I had to do this again. We'll get to the statistics. Where you at, my brother Roy Bay? Let's deal with it. And again, my bad to Facebook. I forgot to, because what they do is when I put the video up, they make it private. I have to go and take it off of private. I'm not putting it on private. So if I don't remember to go to Facebook and put it on public, it kind of go against the grain of what we discussed tonight if the people don't go back and look at the damn video. So let me see. I had a whole bunch about what the priest and the priestess said. You know what I'm saying? We know over here. Wait. But tell me in response to your post exactly who is the leadership you're referring to. I don't care about none of that. So is this the one where I put the statistics concerning the interracial marriage? We're going to find out. And I think it is. I see something about a trade policy, and we're not looking for that direction. It's over the table or constant. Okay. 39% among Asians, among newlyweds, gap gender, 26% Hispanic. What is this? This is garbage. Gap. Oh, don't make me look this up again. Hold on, y'all. Bear with me, please. Okay, here we go. So if I do like this and I share it with y'all, it should be all good. So let's try to share it so y'all can see it. Boom. All righty. And we can even take me off the screen, right? We can put this in full for y'all. And I can zoom it a little bit. And keep in mind, had they went back prior to 1980, this kind of shit has made me cry, y'all. You know what I'm saying? So intermarriage has risen dramatically at all education levels for blacks, with the biggest proportional increases occurring among those with the least education. In 1980, just 5% of black newlyweds with a high school diploma or less had intermarried, a number that has since tripled. You hear me? A number that has since tripled. Rates of interracial marriage have more than doubled at higher education levels, from 7% among those with some college experience and 8% among those with a bachelor's degree, right? So what I wanted to show here, blacks include non-Hispanics in college. Yeah, this ain't exactly. So let me take this down, because what I'm trying to show you is the overall percentage. It's like, 12% of black women who get married outside the race, and like 20% of black men who get married outside the race. That is more than double of the percentage of so-called black women who are in interracial marriages. So that was one of them. That was the bringing it all home portion of it. Here we go. Let's see if this is it. No, that's the college world education. That was the bringing it home. I need the very first one, which should be this one. Yep, here we go. And mind you, again, they just told you these percentages double. So I'm going to show them to you, and I'm going to try to get the fight back on. It just completely disappeared from my screen. So let me share this with you all. Mi relatives, la familia. Let's see. Okay. One of the most dramatic patterns occurs amongst black among black newlyweds. Black men are twice as likely as black women to have a spouse of a different race or ethnicity. 24% versus 12%. This gender gap has been a long standing one. Again, this gender gap between black men and black women, black men who are twice as likely, like let me pause for a minute, right? These passport brothers who are going outside the country, each one of them are from a particular state. They may be from Wisconsin or Louisiana or California, wherever they're from, right? You mean to tell me you just couldn't go to another state or even another city to find you a woman? You had to leave the country? That's bullshit. That is complete bullshit. All these happily married melanated men who are married to melanated women, and you mean to tell me you have to go to another country and get with a woman who uh uh she can't watch Trading Places with you, she can't listen to Run DMC with you, she's not of that culture, right? She can't watch Harlem Nights with you, she's not a part of that culture. She can't watch Coming to America with you and grasp the concept of why certain parts of that movie is hilarious to you and certain parts are observed. She can't grasp that. She's not from your culture. So don't tell me about you had to go to another country. You went to another country because you was a lame-a-roni ass nigga who's looking for an overly submissive woman who was like the woman in the beginning of Coming to America. You know, what kind of dance do you like to do? I like to do the dance that you like to do. Who's your favorite NFL team? Whatever NFL team is your favorite, right? What's your favorite color? Whatever favorite color is your favorite color. That's what it is. And peace to my brother Asir the Duke of Tears. He stopped me during our interview and warned me that a certain that's the word submissive that I was using was a trigger word. Well, this is me today talking to my brothers and sisters, and it's the fucking truth word is what it is. And most of y'all don't want to hear it because you don't want to change that frame. You want to keep that frame the same, which you don't understand is contributing to a fucking diabolical cycle that we have been a part of for too long. And it's the reason that we can unite. And it's the reason that we have no balance. And it's the reason that that it's easy for them to spin an agenda of a gender war with us. Because y'all don't want to deal with the motherfucking facts. Here it is. I got my brother Roy Bay, who is a little bit older than me, right? He's telling me that more black women are involved in interracial marriages when the statistics say otherwise. When we look into the Bureau of Marriage Licenses and Certificates and the Supreme Court records and all of this shit that they put up here in the Pew Research Center, they're showing you that you guys are men, which you can see with your eyeballs. I didn't need a, first of all, now let me give you the back end of the story. The back end of the story is in 1988, my mother moved us from the city of Detroit to Port Charlotte, Florida, right? And during our time there, we lived in Port Charlotte, Florida, but on a daily basis, my mother, they would go to Fort Myers, Sarasota, Orlando. I can name more cities in the state of Florida than I can in the state of Michigan, and I'm from Michigan. I'm not from Florida, right? Did you know it was an Inglewood in Florida? Well, goddamn it, I did, because I used to be at the Inglewood Beach and Yacht Club every day with my mother because she was the manager of the Inglewood Beach and Yacht Club in Inglewood, Florida, right? I know some things. You can't measure what I know because you can't get in my head and see everything that I know. So don't feel like you know more than me, the same way I would never say that I know more than you, my brother or my sister. I'm just asking you to look at the evidence that I'm presenting, you understand, which shows the most accurate and the most shit that makes sense. The shit that you saying is making no motherfucking sense. And being that it makes no sense, I have to go and get the accurate records and unveil them to the people in hopes that you will stop telling these lies. That's what I hope. I hope that you will stop telling these lies about Trump and so on and so forth. And at the same time, I'm not on the side of a Kamala or Obama or Biden, right? I'm not on the side of the descendants of the original invaders, because that's who these people are. They are they're not just a regime, they are a bloodline. Trump is 20 cousins removed from Bush, the same way, well, I can't say the same way as Bush and Obama, because they are closer in bloodline than Trump is to the Bushes. But don't take him out of the equation. He's a blood relative as well. Even though his ancestors and most of the European people who are in the Americas now they arrived here post 1865, right? And I'm sure this is something that my brothers who I'm having a disagreement with right now would agree with me on, because it's a fucking fact. And it's a fact that uh uh it helps their platforms, you see. But when it's a fact that goes against the grain, you know what I'm saying, of what the majority of their followers erroneously believe, then that's what they're willing to push. I don't do that over here. We don't do that. It's either the truth or nothing. And you all are not pushing the truth, which is further stagnating our movements, because you are pushing propaganda, which a lot of the times, 9 times out of 10, that particular information was put together by the same neo-Nazi skinheads who was out here saying Michelle Obama was a man, who was out here saying that Obama was Osama bin Laden and all of this other shit, right? Who was out here like Alex Jones. It wasn't just the Sandy Hook shit. Alex Jones was out here promoting all kind of shit about Obama, which in turn had the elder Dr. Phil Valentine out here talking about Malcolm X was Obama daddy and all of that. I'm getting on all y'all, because again, truth and trust go hand in hand. And if your ass can't tell the truth, I can't trust you. Period. We not gonna be able to manifest shit when y'all keep mixing in the racist white agenda with our agenda, and y'all continuously do it. Who else do you think could put out this fake information talking about Trump was the most successful CEO? Y'all are regurgitating Proud Boy shit and what was that other? I don't follow these things, right? But when I see y'all put it out here, a lot of times I already know where it come from, because once again, back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I'm talking 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, all the way up until 2013. I used to sell the conscious DVDs. And prior to those years, I used to convert the VHSs into DVDs so we could watch the Dr. Ben, peace be upon him, the Dr. Clark lectures, peace be upon him, the Dr. Ivan Van Sertima lectures, peace be upon him, the Dr. Francis Cress Wilson VHS tapes on DVDs, you see. So with that being said, not only did I have those lectures, I also would get the pale people stuff. And some of it was okay. Like when we started talking about, I can't think of the guy name who was the cop who unveiled the whole Freeway Ricky Ross shit and the cocaine and the Contras and all of that shit. We had DVDs and shit on him too, and cassette tapes. And when you talk about David Icke or David Icke, or however you say his name, we ain't just had the VHS tapes. We had cassette tapes of this nigga. The same way we had cassette tapes and CDs of Dwight York, aka Malachi Z. York. Like, we had all of this stuff. So not only would that information get in, the racist satire shit would get mixed in too. And unfortunately, sometimes some of our elders and scholars will get their hands on that and they will begin to lecture on that shit as if it was fact, and it was not. And at the time back then, our scholars did not have access to a internet in order to be able to lightly, thank you, let me put these comments up. Gary Webb was definitely one of them. They didn't have access to be able to, just lightly research some shit. They was just regurgitating that shit. So in these days and age, y'all don't have an excuse for doing that. If I can go online and show you very well that unfortunately our men marry outside, are involved, because I hate using the word race. They are more involved in interracial marriage than our melanated women. And you try to tell me the opposite because, again, y'all have been pushing this propaganda. It didn't start with peace be upon him. Kevin Samuels, I think that's what his name was. And it didn't end with him either. It didn't start with the Passport Brothers, and it's not gonna end with them either. The end all be all is gonna be the fucking truth. But until we tell the truth, we gonna suffer the consequences of these ill thought out actions that y'all are taking and the shit that y'all regurgitating out of your mouths, right? So I guess now, me being an elder myself, it's time to clean house. I don't want to live inside a dirty house, right? I don't. And when me going online onto these various social media sites and stuff like that where we share information, that's me coming into a dirty house. So I'm in here shooting shit down all the time. Boop, that ain't, although, again, whether we're talking about Pan-Africans, there are many Pan-Africans who are my brothers and my sisters, because guess what? During the age of Public Enemy and X-Clan and pro-righteous teachers and so on and so forth, I was a Pan-Africanist too, against the paintings on the wall of my grandmothers and grandfathers and great-great-grandmothers and grandfathers, and my parents laughing at me, telling me that you ain't no African and what the Africans would do to me and they hate me. I was still wore my African medallion proudly, right? I did. Then I graduated. I graduated into, really back into what it was all the time. I wanted to be in the Nation of Islam. I'm talking about as a 10, 11, 9-year-old. I wanted to be in the Nation of Islam. I'm a true Detroit person, true Detroiter to the core, knowing what I know about Elijah and Malcolm, right? Growing up with that information made me want to be a part of that. Although, my best friends and neighbors who were a little bit older than me, they were Moors out of the Moorish Science Temple of America, born babes and ills. You see what I'm saying? No choice. That's all they knew. So they would always explain to me, and I'm talking, this is when I'm 7, 8, 9 years old. Like, we're not with the nation. You see what I'm saying? I was influenced by that biography of Malcolm X that was in my mother's library. Amongst other books, that was the book that stood out to me. That's one of the first books I ever read in my life. Having not no understanding, but not having, of course, as a 7 and 8 and 9-year-old trying to read that book, I'm not going to thoroughly comprehend it. But having access to a library with the encyclopedia set and things of that nature, I was okay for a third grader. What do you want from me, right? But I'm saying that to say, man, we gotta get out of that just regurgitating shit, because this elder said it or this so-called scholar said it. And what I was talking about, I was going through my eras. Okay, so I graduate from that to It was here in Detroit where I'm at. It wasn't the 5%ers, the nations of gods and earths didn't have a large presence the way that the Hebrew Israelites had at this particular time. I'm gonna say the middle of the 90s. You know what I'm saying? So for me, the in me, growing up with or having a grandfather who wasn't just a minister, like this man literally owned his own church, you know what I'm saying, and left that to us when he passed, right? So I was more attracted to the Hebrew Israelite ideology than I was the nations of gods and earths. And it was only because I'm gonna keep it a book, and whoever can get mad can get mad. If you were a 5%er during 1994, 1995, 1996, y'all didn't carry the mathematics the way my brothers and sisters in New York did. You see what I'm saying? So they didn't have a lot to give as where's the Hebrew Israelite brothers and sisters, you know what I'm saying? They had a lot to give me, right? And it got even bigger because at that time, Malachi Z. York or Dwight York, that's where he was at. That was the school of thought that he was teaching at the time. They would have Islamic Hebrew Israelite, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't just the Ansar, and you know what I'm saying? It was post that. So I had literature up the ass when it came to the Hebrew Israelite thing. But as I began to grow and mature in my knowledge of self and to begin to realize, damn, when we start dealing with this monotheism, it's all patriarchal. You know what I'm saying? There's a sky daddy without a sky mother, and that's real homo to me, right? So, sir, me beginning to learn other things, it pulled me up out of that. See? So again, I continued to travel through the various chambers of knowledge. I never stayed stuck in one of anything, but I took the time to master these particular ideologies, which I say that a little bit lightly because, again, when you're talking about being a Hebrew Israelite, you're not just talking about the Torah or the Tanakh or the Talmud. You know what I'm saying? You definitely, most of y'all only deal with the King James version of the Bible, which is very sad. Fortunately, that wasn't, my circumstances. So, wow, that's it. I think I killed this, and hopefully my brothers and sisters who were giving me tension concerning this topic will go back and look at it. For me, this is nothing even worthy of us even trying to debate. You're not going to be able to debate the facts, right? You will have to sit here and say that all of these various administrations are wrong, that the census is wrong with their statistics, when again, every last one of you that I'm on here talking to right now has a social security number. Now, if you're talking about the generation that we gave birth to, which will be my sons and nephews and things like and nieces and things like this and that, in the beginning, my son did not have a social security number, right? I didn't sign a birth certificate, right? There I had midwives and doulas although I was at the hospital with me. You understand? Various things that a lot of people talk about, I did that shit. You understand? So if you're going to give anybody, you don't have to even give me the benefit of the doubt when I'm giving you the information in your face. You see what I'm saying? So you could scratch while I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, or I'll give you some grace based on your longevity, your experience, your participation, your delegations of authority by way of this nation and that nation. Like, I've done all that, right? So I'm wondering why I can't see the fight, y'all. I'm not like, this is upsetting me. But, divine order is, what I can say. I think it's not showing it to me because I'm sharing the screen. And now it says somebody different. I don't even know why it's doing that. But I think it's not showing it. It's not showing me the fight because I'm sharing my screen with you all, as if I was gonna share the fight. I'm not sharing the fight. I'm sharing information with y'all. Let's see if I go to a different link. So yeah, we got a gang of comments. I'm gonna try to put them all on the screen. And while we doing that, I'm trying to see the fight. It's probably gonna be over with. Wow, y'all, this jacked up. I got to okay, here go the fight. I got to kick it with y'all, so you know what I'm saying? My night indeed was successful this evening. Buenos noches. This was grande, you know what I'm talking about? It was sweet. It was sweet. And I don't get it. I hope, that this doesn't deter any of my brothers from coming on. You know what I'm saying? And we're supposed to be falling through doing interviews and whatnot. I hope this isn't a deterrence, me dropping the facts. What I want this to be is um a tool to get us to come together, right? Okay, here go the fight. Here go Clarissa. Damn, this is round 9. Y'all done made me miss this, or is this a different fight? Is that Clarissa? Yeah. They all the way up in round 9. I've been messing with y'all during the whole duration of a fight that I've been looking forward to. I chose to go to the SWV concert over actually going to this fight and seeing this fight live, right? So that should speak volumes to y'all how important dropping this content and these facts is to me. Yeah, he used to be on Sinetta. I haven't seen him on there in a minute too. I think my brother is, you know, doing some other things, right? I'm sure we'll see him on Sinetta again. You know what I'm saying? I know it ain't a never ever situation because I haven't heard anything like that. But peace to the God, my brother Roy Bay. He has attempted to make some connections in between me and some of these more popular platforms when it comes to this conscious information. And I thank and appreciate my brother for doing so. I done miss almost the whole fight talking to y'all. Wow. Can I rewind it though? It's a live stream. Can she rewind it? No, no dice. They're not gonna let me rewind it. So I done missed the whole fight. I don't even see no reason to stop the bill to try to look at the fight because the fight is done. They ain't like the 10th round. So how about we get through some more of these comments? And I know what you can rewind. If I'm not mistaken, you should be able to rewind this live if my brother Turiano or my brother Roy Bay or my sister Rashida is looking at the live. Check out the statistics and stop I don't know. I don't let me say this right quick. I don't want lice. I don't want ticks. I don't want fleas. So with that being said, I can never jump on the bandwagon that y'all are on. Now, you have the right to do so, right? But under the pretenses and the propaganda that you're utilizing to defend that, being that the shit is false, what do you expect your sister to do? What do you expect for me to do? You expect for me to see this shit in the thread and in my news feed and not address it? I could be quiet and continue to do my little bills about the music in the 80s and the stuff that people more so gravitate to from the community that y'all refer to as the mundane. But they got y'all beat when it comes to fucking common sense, right? I don't care. Get mad, be mad. The more of y'all who unfriend me on Facebook is the more that I can accept some of these hundreds of requests that I have. So that's cool. So I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing, which is suing these alleged vegan vitamins at this time of the evening. This what I'm gonna do though, since I did not put the phone number up. I know people don't typically do call-ins to shows that much. And look at this. Look what I ain't even put a banner up, y'all. Bam. Now that's some facts for your ass right there. But I'm gonna put the link in the chat. So if anybody wanna come on and join me while I have this burst of energy during my fast, as y'all know, I usually be stuttering and using way more profanity than I think I used this evening. But the link is in the chat if you want to come in and add on and help me out. Or if you have some opposing information. I'm not biased, bring it on. The link is in the chat. So let me go to Facebook and also put the link in the chat. Put the link in the chat. Let's see if they allow me to do so. This was a cool little bill, y'all. To be 100, although it's lengthy. Oh, this is crazy. I ain't mean to do all that, but let me put the link in the chat if they allow me to do so. This was a cool little bill, y'all. To be all right. So the link is in the chat if you care to. Again, I didn't bring up all the statistics, right? And I know that there are some things that I may not even be aware of that my brothers and sisters are aware of. I always say before I do a live, I always tell y'all, I don't just say tune in. I don't just say, hey, hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button, subscribe, share, all of that shit. A lot of times I say none of that shit, although I do want y'all to like the video and I do want y'all to share and I do want y'all to comment. But more importantly, when I do these bills, what I request from you all every time without ever missing a beat is for you to tune in and help your sister out. Help me out. We all need each other, right? We don't need the lies and the satire and the propaganda. You know what I'm saying? And the various rhetorics in support of those narratives. But what we do need is one another. So again, the link is in the chat. It is in the thread. It is there. If you're trying to get it popping, hit it up. I don't know who all is still listening. Being that I'm tardy with taking the stream off private, I want to give it up to our moderator. Appreciate you, bro. Every time, God. Every time. Because this is something that you do not have to participate in. I'm sure that, you could be doing an abundance of other things, right? But again, according to Dr. William Sandy Darity and Dr. Claude Anderson, who have been studying this longer than many of us have even been alive. If we do not get this business, this corporation who y'all bragging them about, Trump is the best at running it. Ain't that a bitch? This nigga had one term and you willing to make that statement, bruh. Look here. You better get that nigga to cut a check. Because if we don't get the check done, it will be like that meme of Bobby Hemmett talking about this shit is over with. That's where we will be at. That's where we will remain because we already there. But most of us don't want to be honest about it because, again, y'all keep propagating this propaganda talking about we the largest consumer base and all of that. No, we not. No, we not. Yes, the Asians and the Arabs and Chaldeans coming to our and the East Indians open up businesses in our communities because we can't fucking afford to. You don't think that we got enough sense that if we can afford to open up 7-Elevens, and you know what I'm talking about, and things of that nature in our communities, that we wouldn't do it? That we would rather go in our pocket and not let the dollars circulate in our community or neighborhood, since y'all say we don't have communities, and give it to those who are of a different nationality? We not that fucked up, y'all. Stop putting that on us. They say we got new comments. Well, let's see the new comments. I'm getting on y'all ass. I'm supposed to get on the conscious community's ass. Again, the brothers and sisters who are not a part of this community but deem these issues to be extremely detrimental to us, they don't give me all the problems that y'all niggas give me. I'm just keeping it a buck. They don't. The minute I say something that don't resonate with y'all lose y'all mind. The brothers and sisters who are still caught up in what they're caught up in, and they haven't graduated into having an abundance of knowledge of self, damn, but they have an interest in what's going on. They don't give me all these issues y'all give me. They want to know what the fuck is up. So when somebody who is really going in, really going in with some knowledge that's hitting home with them, that they can relate to. They can relate to when some of these scholars are talking about the things that went on with our ancestors at the hands of these invaders that y'all are promoting now, right? But when you start seeing shit like what we see is on the screen, that Serena and Venus was born little boys, and Megan Thee Stallion was born a boy, a male, and all of this bullshit that was put together by your enemy being a neo-Nazi skinhead KKK motherfuckers who have been making documentaries like that for decades. How do I know? Because I used to have them. And some of them I used to sell back in the early 2000s. That's how I know who created them. It wasn't you niggas. You conscious motherfuckers back in 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004 did not have shit to say about Venus and Serena Williams being little boys. But after these racist neo-Nazi skinheads put together these type of documentaries about these sisters being actually men, you so-called conscious niggas start regurgitating this shit. And it's the same thing with this Trump shit, with this Proud Boy shit, with this what do you call that? I can't even think of the name of it, but they kept putting out information about what was gonna happen. And when Trump didn't win the re-election, this was going, none of that shit fucking happened. None of it. QAnon. That's the name of that shit. QAnon. Y'all were following that shit, and 89% of the information that was put out by QAnon was a fucking lie, and it never happened. But yet I can go on my news feed and see y'all still regurgitating these lies, from the Sandy Hook shit all the way to the Michelle Obama shit, all the way to Trump being some kind of fucking savior. Y'all lost y'all goddamn mind. You might as well take your ass back to white Jesus. Let me put my face back on the screen. This is very imperative what I'm saying to you, from my mouth to your ears. You might as well go back to putting white Jesus over Malcolm X. Remember how Saletta used to do on 125th Street? You had a picture of, I think it was white Jesus, Malcolm X, and Marcus Garvey or some shit like that. And randomly he would ask brothers and sisters, you know what I'm saying? Who you rocking with? And they would pick the white Jesus. That's where some of you conscious motherfuckers need to go back to. Jesus over Yusuf bin Yahshua, or Miriam Bar Yahshua. You need to go back to Jehovah Zeus, Jupiter Zeus, Cleophas Jesus, and all of that shit. That's where y'all need to go back to, them Jesuses, right? Cause I'm saying, well, damn, yes, just go back, cause what you're doing is you're helping to stagnate these movements more. That's what you do. And again, if I've been sitting back, I've been active for 19 years, right? But prior to my activism and receiving delegation of authority orders from Washita and Yamasi and so on and so forth, I was already in tune with this shit. But this shit never ran or controlled me, the same way that Allah and Yahweh, none of those deities are more important than me, you, or they not more important than me and you and our children and our ancestry. They the fuck are not. But to most of you, you still put these deities and these ideologies above yourself. So you really can't vibe with me 100%. And I could say that that's cool. Yeah, I could say that that's fine, right? But what's unacceptable is the regurgitation of satire, especially when it don't matter where the satire come from, but it's even more painful to me to know that the satire that you are out here propagating comes from our enemy, comes from the regime of the descendants of the original invaders, who are the currently controlling regime on an international basis. And the things that they can't control, that they would want to access, they go take that shit the same way they came and took your shit. So let's rewind a little bit. When I say we have a movement over here at the Alhambra Society 313 known as the No More Click It or Ticket movement, right? This is me taking back what is ours. How am I doing that? Make it make sense. They just took some shit, right? We know that don't make sense. If they can just take some stuff, we can just take some stuff too. We're omitting to mention the fact that they use, and I'm looking at camera and say, they use their mercenaries and their missionaries in order to be successful with their occupation here, right? This wasn't just done by way of missionaries, and it wasn't just done by way of mercenaries. Now, let's fast forward. What has made it successful to the tune of being the wealthiest Inc. or the wealthiest corporation, bar none, is the millions of statutes and codes and acts that they have implemented within their legislative, judicial, and their executive branches, right? Which boils down to you, I, and our babies if we don't begin to kill some of it now. So Again, the no more click it or ticket movement, you don't have to be necessarily into any kind of knowledge of self in order to comprehend the severity of it, in order to see how it was beneficial to the rednecks and the hillbillies with they no more helmet, giving them tickets for their helmets, and extorting them for funding. They're not. They told the fraternal order of police that we're not going to fund you, bitches. But the very people who are negatively affected by that particular regime the most don't want to do shit. Or when I mention a no more click it or ticket movement, y'all act like that would be ineffective. It was very effective for the, not just for that. It shows how they stand up for their rights and spit on privileges. Meanwhile, we're trying to hold on to privileges and have no uh, um, problem giving away our unalienables or unalienable rights. I'm against all that shit. I'm not for doing business with this cartel or their subsidiaries, right? And if you are pushing for Trump over anybody, or over Kamala, or Kamala over Trump, you are saying to me that you good with doing business with this cartel that not only had shits on your children but shitted on your ancestors. So what you think it got for you? Nothing. Nothing. I'm saying I missed the fight talking to y'all. So, and take it back, rewind it, look at the percentages, look at the percentage that Trump that the Dow increased under Trump, and then look at the percentage that it increased under Obama, and look at the percentage that it increased during both Bushes and Clinton, and that should make the light bulb go off over your head for you to look at the other statistics and find out that it's no way in the fuck that Trump was the most successful president in office. He was not. That is a lie. Pushed by your Proud Boys and your QAnon and some of these racist skinhead neo-Nazis who would love to skin you alive and use your skins to bind their Bibles like they used to do during their picnics. And you know what I'm talking about? Use your skin to make shoes and shit. Buying their books and their Bibles and shit. That's what they come from, right? They come from that. So what I look like supporting that. And it's both wings of the bird. Biden and whoever else, any other Democrat, any other Republican, left wing, right wing, same freaking bird. It ain't a phoenix. We looking for the phoenix to rise from the ashes, right? If that's what we standing on, you supposed to stand with me, not against me. You supposed to look at what I'm presenting to you. If you have enough sincerity to comment on my content, right? Then you should be sincere enough to goddamn read the my responses or my rebuttals. And obviously, you're not reading the responses and the rebuttals if you're continuously attempting to rebut what is substantial, what we can prove. You can't prove lies. What happened with a lie is you got to tell more lies. See, when you tell the truth, you don't have to lie. But when you tell lies like Dwight York did, you got to tell more lies. See, you just can't say you from the planet risk. You have to also say that I wasn't born in Boston, Massachusetts. I was born in Sudan. Right? You got to tell more and more fucking lies. But unfortunately, due to the trauma that a lot of us still carry as a people, we are more prone to believe Reverend Pork Chop and Pastor Pimpin. And best believe Dwight York was our Reverend Pork Chop and our Pastor Pimpin. And Reverend Pork Chop and Pastor Pimpin, those are two terms that I got from Dwight York, the man from the planet Risk. Right? And I know it hurt. It hurt. I had a conversation with my brother Russell. He's one of the originals, right? From the dojo where my teacher Bobby Ill would teach Moorish science, which is Kemetic science, right? And he brought up the topic of Malachi Z. York, aka Dwight York, and I had to inform him of what I've been able to, and what you can do the same now because the case is declassified, right? So just like I found out, and I can be sued for saying this, that Dwight York had herpes and gave herpes to multiple young women, underage girls, and so on and so forth. This is shit that actually happened. He actually took these children away from their parents and moved them on a different estate up in Catskill, New York, before he relocated them down to Georgia, to Eatonton, Georgia. I mean, you would have to make it make sense to me. A man who claims to be an alien and he's from the planet Risk and Nibiru and all of this shit, he can't click his heels 3 times and get out the prison. And I'm not doubting his diplomacy through Liberia. I've been seeing those documents since 2006. The same way I continuously heard the rumors that he had already been released from prison. The same way they keep telling that lie, my Nubian brothers and sisters and Sabians. You still telling that lie today. Some of you are still telling a lie that he will be released due to his diplomatic status through Liberia, which is bullshit because Liberia was created by the United States of America the same way Israel was created by the United States of America. So if the U.S. ain't talking about letting him the fuck out, Liberia definitely is not going to get Dwight York out of prison. He don't deserve to be out of prison, right? Again, I followed this man's literature and eventually this man longer than some of y'all been alive. That's really how old I am, right? We talking at earliest that I can recall 89, 90, 99, especially 91. You know what I'm saying? His pale man in the Bible, and like this is stuff that I was affected by before I even reached high school. So by all right, I have all right to say what the fuck I'm saying, especially being that it's the truth. No, I did not personally, witness him SA any underage girls, right? I didn't personally see that. But as we look into the declassified documents dealing with his case, if that case doesn't bring you to tears once you realize that you have been lied to, the multiple lies that he continued to tell, the simple ones like where he was born and who was his parents. You cannot tell me that you were born in Sudan and somebody else is your family, but there is not only a birth certificate listing your parents being Mary York and David York, you also have school records in Boston from elementary and middle school, right? So many of these lies are easy to disqualify. And I did that work. But that doesn't stop the multiple brothers and sisters of the Nubian faith from hating my guts and unfriending me for telling this truth, who don't have the desire. It's not that they don't have the capability to access the same documents that I have multiple times from 2006 all the way up in 2018. I was done with it. I was more than convinced that he was guilty, and I had to deal with my promotion of him. Now, what I will say is that an abundance of the literature that was produced by way of his set is A1. I will rock with a lot of it forever until we unearth something that predates it. That's how shit work for me, right? So I don't know, y'all. We got to get it together. We are continuing a dangerous pattern that shuns those who are willing to actually tell the truth from the inside of the various organizations who the conscious community holds in a high esteem that aren't fucking deserving. Again, how many priests and rabbis and imams and pastors and ministers have been charged with pedo activity, right? That seems to be common throughout history. So how far-fetched is it really for, it don't have to be far-fetched, that nigga guilty, right? But how far-fetched is it for us to want to examine that and to get some fucking answers? Like I told my brother earlier today, the mere fact that 4 out of every 5 of our women have been SA'd throughout their lifetime is the very reason why our babies is LMNOPQ like a motherfucker, is what I said to him. You know why? Because we haven't addressed it. Out of all the situations and all the young women I know, including myself, there are only 2 where the pedo was handled. We'll just say it like they're both deceased, right? Only 2 out of all of the young women who I was raised with as a little girl, who I know for a fact they uncle or a neighbor or mama boyfriend or they fucking daddy or the so on and so forth have violated them. Out of all of those girls, only 2 families retaliated against the pedo. And I know a lot. I know a lot of, if again, I wouldn't have to know a lot. It's a fucking lot for 4 out of every 5 of your women to have suffered that violation. Especially those of us who experienced that as a child. That's the type of trauma that is the reason, right? You got a lot of that going on. It's the very reason. Because it wasn't addressed is the very reason. Because they wasn't protected, right? Because when they went to mama, some of them, when we went to mama and went to grandma or went to daddy, they either didn't believe us, B, were so Christianized that their answer was forgiveness and not to get the child any psychiatric help, which you are gonna need when you are violated in that manner, right? So again, this trauma continues to live in our community, and it is the reason we have such a high ratio of more pedo activity, as well as the heightened rate of LMNOPQUTTT. You know what I'm talking about? That is a fact that most of our men and women don't want to deal with. When I start talking about this shit, they don't want to deal with that. But until we do, best believe more of our babies gonna be, which then puts a big dent in our population, because two women ain't making no baby, and two men ain't making no. You can adopt some, but you're not making none. Which is why they promote this shit so much. When I say the they, you know who I'm talking about. The people who already have a negative birth rate, right? So I'm getting ready to end this because the fight, they showing it again, right? So I get to look at the fight, right? Number one. Number two, I said more than enough this evening already. And to end it, what I do want to say is, for the most part, we have more that we agree on than we disagree on. So let's deal with that. If you still want to carry on a lie to say this, that, and the third about Trump, and this, that, and the third about Michelle Obama having a penis and Venus and Serena have, that's on you, right? You, the people who want to continue, you know what I'm saying, to promote the skinhead neo-Nazi satire against their own damn people, that's on you. Let's deal with the things that we agree upon that are factual. Anything outside of that, I don't know what to tell you, right? And to end it all, the one thing that we all should agree on is promoting and supporting a movement to abolish the safety belt law, right? No more click of the ticket movement. And if you don't understand how that would benefit us as a whole, I implore you to rewind this video and also go to the Alhambra Society 313's YouTube channel. And I guarantee you, like, every video I'm going to mention this no more click of the ticket movement, right? Because it brings those of us, again, who aren't a part of these various conscious communities directly, right? It brings us together with those of us who are involved directly, because it's something that we should be able to wholeheartedly agree on. We wholeheartedly know and agree that a seatbelt law was not put into existence based off of being concerned for your safety, right? Yeah, I'm about to get out of here because I start talking again and start showing pictures and references and all of that, which is good. But we've been on here for 3 hours. Again, unfortunately, the beginning of the video was on private on Facebook. So for the people who watch it on Facebook instead of looking at it on YouTube, you're gonna have to rewind it and go back once we end it. And appreciate the likes, big up the likes, leave me some comments, and any way that you could think of to support the channel and this particular movement that I feel more comfortable standing on than any the other movements, whether we're talking Yamasee, whether we're talking Washita, whether we're talking Great Seal. I'm more comfortable with this because it's one thing, and we can accomplish this one thing and move on to the next thing, as opposed to us standing on a foundation that has a bunch of leaks and cracks and people with egos and elders involved who are not just liaisons but dignitaries who can't fucking get along. I've been through all of that shit. I've been through the fact that our sitting empress was allegedly attacked. Peace be upon her. She's passed over. She's with the ancestors now. But prior to me being involved, I was told that she was attacked. So me being who I am, especially at the time, and having the resources that I, had access to, something was going to be done about it. Guaranteed. But the problem was the brother who was being accused by a couple of sources of being the assailant. It was found that it was through various people who were there at the time who I was able to ask questions, right? They said it wasn't him that did it. So my mission was to find out if this happened to the Empress, some motherfucking body know who did it. And y'all see, these are things that in the past I haven't discussed on any of these platforms due to, you know what I'm saying? Those who are still in power, you motherfuckers didn't do shit. So with me mentioning this, it makes you look away, right? It's documented that I had things put together to do something about this, right? I talked to Joe, who was the Empress's son. I talked to the sitting queen mother at the time, Fayola. I talked to a whole bunch of people, right? To the point to where various chiefs had various people reaching out to me because, you understand, they knew somebody was going to get hurt. There was going to be retaliation for this. This is shit that happened years before I even got involved, and I wasn't letting this shit slide. But what I found, the amount of cowards that I found and the amount of people who are, how my son grandmother put it, are very full of themselves, right? More concerned with themselves over a movement. If a movement can be ran, could be successful based off of one individual's accolades, y'all, that's a fantasy. Stop it. I had to stop myself from using profanity, y'all. Yes. Just, I, you know, I don't know what is gonna, I don't have any predictions on an election. The same way I don't have no dogs in that fight. I don't have any predictions on an election, right? And I've expressed this evening where my concerns lie for us and our descendants. And that's where we all need to be focused. For those who, you know, can't get a grip on that and feel as though whoever gets in that Oval Office is going to affect their financial well-being, which is a fucking fantasy, unless you're in the $1 million bracket, you're fooling yourself. You're not fooling me, right? Fooling yourself. You're jacking off yourself, as my brother would say. You a jack off artist is what you're doing. That's just, I don't sugarcoat anything. Too old for that shit. You save the candy for the babies. You know what I'm saying? We are not babies over here, right? And when it comes to these types of movements, like, I'm beyond the elder to have navigated in and out of these various movements, and with the intent and the sincerity that I have and had, it's hard to match that, right? Which is why, like, I have an elder who worked for Donald Trump directly. I told y'all this story back in 2016, 2017, 2018, And my intent was to get him to do an interview with us on the original Alhambra Society channel. But I had to overstand and understand um, his reluctance, right? It wasn't about money, because if he would have told me get him $1,000 to do the interview, I would have given it to him. No problem, no sweat, right? But that wasn't the case. The case was you have to examine his introductions to who he called Don. He don't even call him Trump. He don't call him Donald. He don't call him Donald Trump. He called a man Don, right? And the traumatic incident that happened to him at in Atlantic City at the Trump Towers, right? That made him stop working for Trump. We're talking about a man who's an engineer, a master electrician here from the city of Detroit. I hope I'm not. I know I'm not, because he's from the prior generation. He's from the brothers who hung out with the Young Boys Incorporated, who went to Vegas and went to Atlantic City to all the Sugar Ray Leonard fights and all of that, which is how he met Donald Trump in a room of motherfuckers like Eddie Murphy and Rick James and all of these type of people, you know what I'm saying, who he was already cool with. And I guess there was a mention during one of these after parties, after one of these middleweight championship matches, where, you know, his accolades were mentioned. And Donald Trump had an interest in hiring the elder, right? And in the midst of this conversation, it was told to me that Eddie Murphy told Donald Trump to shut the fuck up. He said, "Shut the fuck up, man. You ain't gonna hire this man. Shut the fuck up." And Donald Trump got in Eddie Murphy ass. He told Eddie Murphy, "You know, don't tell me what I'm gonna do and what I'm not gonna do. Like, I'm a man of my word." And he was a man of his word. He ended up hiring this elder, right? So fast forward to 2015, it was definitely before Donald Trump was elected, right? I was going to rent one of this elder's houses, right? Uh, and at the time, I'm a homeowner, but when you're trying to get out of a situation, you know what I'm saying? You got to get out that situation. If you got to leave your estate that you own to get away from that situation, you got to do that. And that's what I was attempting to do. And, you know, I met him through another elder, you know what I'm saying, who, again, is a part of this circle of the older cats here in Detroit who my generation looked up to. These was the money guys, right? Long story short, he begins to tell me the Trump story, right? And the Trump story of why he stopped working for Trump. And it was a racist situation. And it wasn't a racist situation where Trump said something to him that was a prejudice or a racist statement. It was the actions of some of the people that he was working with up under Trump while they were doing construction, right? And to make a long story short, this man almost lost his life, right? And through the duration that he worked for Trump, he was the only melanated man there, helping build and add on to the various structures like the casinos in Atlantic City and blah 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 blah, right? So he said during that time, you know how they bring in people from the outside also to work on the projects. I forget the term that you would use, vendors or however y'all, you know, that construction type talk. So he said the only other melanated person that ever came and worked on this particular project was a sister, and she was from California, hired from an outside company, blah blah blah. He explained the whole thing to me. And during an incident where he was left dangling from a structure up so many feet high that if he would have actually fell, he would have died, right? He said he's dangling, and every last one of these pale faces see him holding on to a wire by his fucking life, and they turned around and kept on working and did not help him. The only person, the reason he's alive today is the sister saw it and she came and helped him. And after that, he quit, right? Currently, this elder, he's on his set, he's going into having a second kidney, right? And he was on dialysis and all of this other stuff, which was the number one reason why he did not come and do the interview. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about fear of retaliation, you know, which I can't say that wasn't a part of it, but it was mostly due to his health. So that's why you all never saw me interview him. Subcontracting, yes, thank you. And that's what the sister was. So she was only there at that site for a small amount of time. But thank you to the ancestors that she was there. You know what I'm saying? Because other than that, the elder, you know, would have perished in that situation. From his description and him being who he was and how he described it, and when you find out how much money he was making working for Don, as he called him, you know what I'm saying? Like the story, just how, man, yeah. Hopefully one day, you know, maybe he will tell the story. If he doesn't, you know, he has a daughter who is my son age. And I know, you know what I'm saying? She'll know the story. Maybe one day she'll come out and tell the story. But the story in full, you know, uh, uh, the full prism of it, is not my story to tell. But being that he told me the story again prior to Trump actually winning the election, the way it affected me now, and how we already have the history of how Trump helped somewhat. I won't say he helped get those 5 young men convicted from the Central Park Five or whatnot, but you know what I'm saying? He was instrumental in this shit. For him to take out a ad in the New York Times saying, calling them devils basically, and convicting these young men who were innocent. You know what I'm saying? Like the things that the shit, his record is not good with me for things that I know are actual factual. His record is not good with me based on uh, um, current statistics that we can pull up for what his administration actually was able to do. Remember, when COVID was happening and they shut everything down, he wasn't for shutting everything down, which proves that number one, he wasn't responsible for the amount of money that was the stimulus that we was getting. He actually was against the larger stimulus that we actually received in the beginning, right? These are facts. These are facts that you can look up. Why? Because they are documented. They are congressional records and things like this and that. You can go look this shit up. The lies that y'all out here telling, there is nothing to substantiate the shit. Y'all got me on all big words almost tonight. Because I'm trying to reach you. I'm trying to reach those of us who say they are scholars who are out here regurgitating this fucking satire. I don't want you to be like, oh, she's not educated. She doesn't have a degree in political science. Nigga, neither do you. You don't. Those who I'm forced to address this evening, they don't. Not be that, y'all. Again, share, like, comment. I might be live again tomorrow. We need to excuse me, be dropping more content over here, right? Definitely need to be dropping more content. No, he didn't apologize for that. They didn't even acknowledge that the elder was hanging on a string like loose ends by a wire. You know what I'm saying? And he's not a real big guy. You know what I'm saying? In stature or whatnot. So, had he been a big guy, that wire wasn't gonna suffice. It wasn't gonna continue to sustain his fucking life. And the sister, from what he say, she's even smaller than him. So for her to be able to um pull and attach, and they wear stuff similar to the stuff that I wear when I'm on the forklift at work and shit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was something different. It was something different. I really, man, I had my heart set on him doing that interview because initially he didn't say no, right? He told me he was gonna think about it, and when he made his decision, he was gonna call me. And this was in 2020, 2019, somewhere along there. And when he finally hit me up, he was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna do it, and I'm not gonna expose everything. Why? But the number one factor again was his health." Yeah, 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 yeah. So that's it. That's it. Harness, thank you. I'll be at work talking about somebody took my belt thing. I go on a thing like certain shit. When you got so much shit in your brain, you know what I'm saying. You have to prioritize what's gonna be important enough to have an instant recall with. The things that I have instant recall on, you know what I'm saying. I don't know, you know. Some things that I should have an instant recall on that are very important to me, sometimes I don't, because this is a lot of information. Like we used to always say, everybody has a piece of the puzzle, right? At this time, shit, we got all the pieces of the puzzle, but we don't want to come together because some of us are still holding on to various ideologies and false information. And with that, we gonna run some commercials, and I'm gonna get out of here. Just peace and love, y'all. Peace and love.
YouTube, you fools try to limit me. Muting and deleting channels, thinking that's the end of me. Y'all are not on my level, smaller than a centipede. This is my purpose, TBT is a ministry. I do not tire, my God gives me energy. Chose by Messiah, you believe, come get with me. Married to a black queen, we got the illest chemistry. Founded the black tube, and now we making history. Black tube, 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 what? Black tube, 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 what? TBT, 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 what? TBT, 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 what? TheBlackTube.com. I'm a giant killer, son of an omniscient God who's realer. If this be the thriller in Manila, I'm Ali in his prime. It's showtime, coke time, about to take what's mine. We are not with your agenda. We showing real life.
Hey, y'all want to see the fight? We'll see what happens. See how long it'll take them to get me up out of here.
Supreme.
Shock.
They say I'm dope, I said I'm smoke, fire, blowing air, carbon, earth, solid, water, wet. I'm steady B, a sister soldier that dies effects. So gone with all that hoopla and rah-rah, unless you talking about Atun, Namuna, Amara, pineal glands, all seeing eyes. We call it third eye, we came to build, not pay your bill. Slang municipality, city seals like roadkill, descendants of ancient mound builders. Not supposed to need encyclopedias, genetically encoded with 720. We got amnesia, claiming we Christian Cretans in love with Yahweh, Muhammad, and Jesus. But you was living inside of God when you was a fetus. But believers and never believers, non-believers, cause we